Chapter 284. 5 pairs of eyes in the living room suddenly looked at the door, like a small sun at night emitting tens of thousands of rays of light. The girl at the door was directly fixed in place by the 5 rays of light. Her face was colorful and wonderful, and she didn't come to her senses for a while. Xiao Xiao reacted quickly, and immediately stepped forward to help her smooth things over. Yinran, come to the study later. Let's discuss the details. Yinran nodded blankly, then turned to the living room and whispered guiltily, Dad, Mom, Yingguo, why are you 3 here? Mom Yin reacted quickly, we are guests at Xiao Xiao's house. Yinran, why are you here? Xiao Xiao immediately answered, Oh, Yinran came to discuss something with me. I didn't expect to meet you here. What a coincidence. At this time, Uncle Wu hurried to help. Miss Yinran, I'm sorry. I took the initiative to invite your parents to visit my house. They seem to have the intention of decorating, so they came to see the decoration of our house. Xiao Xiao was anxious. He was chatting and forgot to see Yinran's trace. He didn't expect to meet her here. He couldn't let it be exposed. He hurriedly winked at Yingguo when Yinran couldn't see him. Yingguo saw Xiao Xiao's eyes blinking up and down, but he didn't understand for a long time. He directly asked his brother-in-law, What's wrong with your eyes? Before Xiao Xiao answered, Yinran suddenly blushed. Yingguo, don't call him that. Call him Brother Qiao. Finally, they sat down on the sofa together, and Yinran was so unnatural in front of her parents for the first time. After a while, her parents proposed to visit the whole house, and she breathed a sigh of relief. Uncle Wu took them upstairs. Xiao Xiao hurried over and hugged Yinran. Why did you suddenly come back? Yinran pinched Xiao Xiao's waist and asked, What happened to my parents? Why was he here? Are you up to something again? Xiao Xiao immediately pretended to be very innocent and raised his hand to deny. It's really not me. Uncle Wu invited them to visit the house. Yinran suddenly cried out, Oh no, my clothes are all in the room. Just as Yinran was about to rush up to make up for her mistake, she didn't expect that her parents had already come down. Moreover, Mother Yin looked at Yinran with a very strange expression. Yinran, I found that there are many sets of clothes that are exactly the same as the ones you've worn before. This is too much of a coincidence. Yinran didn't know how to explain it at all. She had to smile and say, Mom, it's really a coincidence. Yinran's father directly took advantage of the situation and began to discuss the decoration of the house with Uncle Wu. The two of them went back and forth and really chatted in the same direction. The two of them talked in full swing, making Yinran and Xiao Xiao unable to interrupt. Finally, they finished their visit. Yinran's parents and Yingguo left the villa. They didn't force Yinran to leave with them, and Xiao Xiao held Yinran's hand tightly, not letting her go. In this way, Yinran stayed in the villa under Yingguo's teasing. Before Yingguo left, she secretly said to Xiao Xiao, Brother-in-law, I'm cheering for you if you don't want to be a monk. After leaving Xiao Xiao's house, Yan's father first sighed and said that a grown girl couldn't be kept at home. Then he said to Yan's mother very proudly, Look, our daughter is excellent. She was good at everything before, and now her husband is better than others. Finally, Yinran and Xiao Xiao's marriage was finally preliminarily settled under Xiao Xiao's vigorous operation. After that, Uncle Wu and Yan's parents discussed the specific time of the wedding to be set on the first day of the next year. Xiao Xiao was very unhappy when he saw that the wedding was delayed for half a year. However, when Yan's father said that he still wanted to keep her at home for half a year, Xiao Xiao immediately shut up. He would never make his father-in-law unhappy. The two families began to prepare in full swing behind Yinran's back. Xiao, I'm going abroad. I may stay for a while before coming back. Yinran threw a deep water bomb at Xiao Xiao one day. Xiao Xiao immediately became anxious. Why are you going abroad? How long will you be gone for? I'm going to find the original Minister Tian. According to the clues you gave me, I found that the current superior is very suspicious. He found a witness and told me that the bad things before were all ordered by Minister Tian. Now that I've compared and analyzed it, I found that his words are full of loopholes. And I also want to investigate some of the things that happened to the superior when he was abroad. Yinran, are you beginning to suspect him? I've already said that this person is scum. Xiao Xiao gritted his teeth and said, when you said that Hui Gang was a bad person, I didn't care too much and didn't want to believe it. But I didn't expect your intuition to be right. This superior is the same. He was too perfect in front of me. But he actually sent you that video. His thoughts are too vicious. And there was once when he wanted to use the illusionary mind technique on me. Xiao, maybe your intuition is right again. Yanran held Xiao Xiao's hand and looked at him seriously. Xiao Xiao immediately felt proud. His Yanran finally believed him more seriously, which proved that his position in Yanran's heart had risen again. However, he was still worried that they would have to be separated for a period of time. Aran, I want to go with you. I won't be in any danger this time. I'll come back as soon as I'm done with my investigation. Little Six will go with me. You're also quite busy here. Don't you still have a few commercials to shoot? I heard from Daeong that you're about to take on a new movie. When are you going to join the crew? There's still a while before that. I'll be back just in time to join the crew. Work hard, don't revolve around me all day. You're a big star now, and your every move will be watched by others. Your inexplicable disappearance won't help your popularity. Be good. Yanran touched Xiao Zhao's head and rubbed the fluffy black hair on top of his head. It was soft and very comfortable. It was like stroking a dog. Aran, are you willing to let me be alone in an empty room? Xiao Xiao simply acted coquettishly. Well, a man should put his career first. I've said it before. You have to let your girlfriend worship you a little. Xiao Xiao had to swallow the bitter water into his stomach. The experience of the human world was completely for Yanran. He forcibly changed himself from a playboy to a good man in the world. This bitter career. Yanran waved her hand and got on the plane. She didn't take away a single piece of cloud. Even Xiao Zhao's aggrieved eyes didn't shed a drop of sympathetic cat tears. Dumpling Xiao left the airport just like that. He now hated his celebrity identity. It always wrapped his magnificent beauty like a big dumpling. No wonder Yanran didn't have the slightest nostalgia for him. Xiao Xiao returned to the office gloomily and sat in his boss chair. He was bored to death and didn't have any energy in his body. Jing Shu came in to report to him. Seeing him like this, she was very strange. Boss, didn't your goddess feed you enough yesterday? Now Jing Shu was completely familiar with Xiao Xiao. She dared to make any kind of joke. Xiao Xiao glanced at Jing Shu lifelessly. I see that you look so good. Were you fed yesterday? Jing Shu's face blushed. Boss, don't talk about personal matters at work. Xiao Xiao was interested. It seems that there's really a situation. Tell me, who is it? Jing Shu was embarrassed for a moment. It was a director she met last time, when she was shooting an advertisement. Damn, you're good. That's the famous Golden Bachelor in the entertainment industry. Come, tell me the details. Was it him who pushed you down or you pushed him down? Boss, you're getting more and more wretched. Sigh, my goddess went abroad. I can only rely on you guys to live. Xiao Xiao lay back in his chair and crossed his legs. This lazy boss was really hopeless. Just such a casual posture made Jing Shu unable to move her eyes away. Boss, you have to make full use of your advantages. Just like you, won't the goddess automatically throw herself into your arms if you blink? It's not that easy. Do you think it's that easy to hook up with her will be my goddess? Oh, Jing Shu finally understood. What you can't get is the best. It seemed that the boss's goddess was very high level. She had achieved the extreme of being neither close nor distant. No wonder the boss was dead set on her. Now that she had learned this trick, she could immediately try it out on her new director. At this moment, Zhang Daong knocked on the door and came in with a bitter face. Boss, other people can't even beg for resources. You can choose any resources you want, but you're still not willing. Look at how many times you've rejected these variety shows. If you reject them again this time, I won't be able to be the general manager anymore. Okay, what's the matter? I'm free during this time. Just do whatever you want. Xiao Xiao put his hands behind his head and looked like he was ready to die. Zhang Daong was overjoyed. Brother Qiao, let me tell you, these variety shows are the most popular in the country. One of them is called Aerial Adventure. It's a show that combines suspense and thrills. There's another one called Secret Room Challenge. It's similar, Another one is currently the most popular one called Extreme Fog. It's a global shoot. Recently, they have a scenic spot to shoot in Country M. They've invited you several times. Wait, where did you say you wanted to shoot? In Country M. It should be City A. Xiao Xiao and Jing Shu looked at each other and slapped the table with a smile. Haha, that's it. Zhang Diang couldn't believe it. Xiao Xiao actually agreed. Brother Qiao, I haven't finished yet. This show is said to be extremely challenging, so it's extremely eye-catching. Do you think you can handle it? Xiao Xiao patted Zhang Diang on the shoulder and smiled. Men should prioritize their career and have the courage to challenge their limits. Your brother Qiao, for the future of Star Entertainment, will sacrifice myself to bring the ratings of this show to another level. Zhang Diang jumped up excitedly. Brother Qiao, if you had this awareness earlier, my family would have already had a mine. You're too greedy. Didn't you already have a mine? Now the girls around you, I can't even count them. Zhang Diang immediately blushed. Those are all trying to get in touch with you through me. Don't. Last time I was scared of Wu Mei. Yanren almost beat me to death. Don't make trouble for me. Take it all. Your image is not bad. Zhang Diang looked at Xiao Xiao, and then looked at himself. One was a peerless face of a god, and the other was a miner at the bottom of the mine. He wiped the bitter tears from the corner of his eyes, and walked out silently. Xiao Xiao immediately felt refreshed and full of fighting spirit. He waved his hand. Jing Shu, go and bring me all the information about Extreme Fog. Chapter 285. Extreme Mist had only been released for the second season, but its ratings had already shot through the roof. The most attractive thing about this variety show was that there was no prior script, only pre-designed scenes. To put it simply, it was a highly intelligent show for solving cases. At the beginning of the show, there would always be a person who died an unnatural death, and they had to find the murderer based on the clues at the scene. Only the plot was set at the beginning, but how the case was solved and the story that happened were all created on the spot. The most important thing about this show was to test each celebrity's observation and reasoning skills, to dig out the most authentic side of the celebrity. The director was very picky when looking for people, and the celebrities were also very cautious when accepting projects. Although it was a variety show, if they couldn't solve the case or showed that their intelligence was very low, wouldn't that destroy their own image? This was a poison with sugar. It could make you amaze the world with a single brilliant feat, but it could also make you plummet. It had to be said that the directors nowadays were also very imaginative. They wouldn't give up until they dug out the most authentic side of the celebrity. After Xiao Xiao finished watching, he understood the crux of the matter. The reason for the popularity of the first 2 episodes wasn't that the celebrities had solved the case wisely, but that they had fallen into the director's trap. In the end, they failed miserably, so naturally, they were scolded very badly. After watching, Jing Shu was also a little worried. Boss, your IQ is good enough, right? If you can't solve this case, you'll lose fans. Xiao Xiao wasn't worried at all. What are you afraid of? Your brother Qiao is the one and only treasure in the world. When the time comes, are you afraid that I won't be able to handle the director? The key is how long the filming will take, and how long will the free time be. This usually takes at least a week to film. After that, it's up to your own arrangements. Then don't arrange any other work for me. I'm going to accompany Yan Ran, and then I'll come back with her. Jing Shu nodded repeatedly. Then boss, after you're done filming, can I also move freely? You're in a hurry to come back and see your director? Okay, I'll give you a break after filming. When Xiao Xiao was in a good mood, anything was easy to say. Hooray boss. Zhongzi Qiao and Jing Shu boarded the plane to California, according to the arrangement of the crew. This time, he was the only star in Nanchuan. It was said that there were several other guests. One of them was the award-winning actor Jia Ming, who was slightly older and was already over 30 years old. The other one was a newcomer in the singing industry, Chang Lu, who was said to be a top student at Northern University. There was also a girl, Jing Li, who was the female lead in a recently very popular drama. She had the courage to challenge this program, because it was said that she was a young genius. 4 partners are enough for a show, but there are fewer female stars. Jing Shu closed the document and said, "Why must there be women? It's better if all of them are men, so that my Yinran won't have any opinions." Xiao Xiao put on the blindfold and wanted to sleep immediately. "Boss, you have to work hard with your goddess. In the future, there will be kissing scenes or pretending to be in bed in your movies. Don't tell me you're not going to act in them." Jing Shu was a little worried. "I'll use cellophane tape to cover my mouth," Xiao Xiao said and ignored her. Jing Shu looked at the boss lying down casually. Every part of him was so perfect. The high nose bridge and light pink thin lips under the blindfold were set off by his white skin like the best jade. The high-quality black short-sleeved t-shirt was folded into a white one. A star-shaped pendant slipped out from the collar, emitting a light blue luster. The boss's clothes were always very particular and decent. Coupled with his slender body, it was so perfect. She patted her little heart. Fortunately, she had become a mother's fan. Otherwise, she would have fallen into a hopeless situation and couldn't live. After nearly 20 hours of flight, Xiao Xiao and Jing Shu arrived directly at the Los Angeles International Airport. Here they met the award-winning actor Jia Ming. As expected of the award-winning actor, his whole body was rippling with the charm of a mature man. Jia Ming knew Xiao Xiao. Looking at his flawless face, he was envious. "It's still good to be young. There's no flaw at all. Young man," Jiang Hao acted well. "You have a bright future." "Brother Ming, you flatter me. I still have much to learn from you." Xiao Xiao had always been very respectful to seniors. He had watched many of Jia Ming's movies. The characters in the movies were made of flesh and blood. He was also a senior that he really liked. Xiao Xiao looked at Jia Ming's mature and steady way of talking. In his heart, he wondered if Yinran Sr. was also like this. It seemed that he had to become more mature. Maybe he could be more charming. This way, Yinran wouldn't eat from the bowl and look at the pot. The two of them hit it off. After a while, the director sent someone to pick them up. "Xiao Xiao, I don't know if we'll break our bones this time. I'm not as young as you guys. If I wasn't friends with the director, I wouldn't have come." Jia Ming was familiar with Xiao Xiao, so he said some of his thoughts. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but feel strange. "Is there any physical work in this variety show?" "It's not just physical work. I've known Director Wang for many years. Filming with him has never been easy. I know that in order to pursue the extreme, he always looks for the most extreme places, the best stars, and the most difficult tasks. I don't know where we'll be this time." Jia Ming smiled bitterly. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but be speechless. However, he had the magic in his body, so he definitely wasn't afraid. "Brother Ming, don't worry. I'll be there." Jia Ming looked at Xiao Xiao and smiled. "I guess he'll definitely split us up and look for clues on our own. We'll see who can solve the case first. I don't think we can rely on you. We'll see. Brother Ming, don't worry too much." Xiao Xiao didn't think much of it. Was the variety show really that exaggerated? Looking at Jia Ming's expression, it seemed like he was here to suffer. The two of them arrived at the hotel and finally met the legendary Director Wang. After everyone exchanged greetings, Director Wang looked at Xiao Xiao's appearance and was very satisfied. "Xiao Xiao, I think this episode's hot topic depends on you. You can't be too smart and ruin our show. Director Wang, it's up to you. I'll just be myself. However, I haven't solved a case before." "That's right. I just want the audience to see the truest side of you." "Ha ha ha." Xiao Xiao touched his nose. It seemed like Director Wang had defined him as an idiot, who only had looks but no intelligence. He couldn't say anything. At this time, Jia Ming came over to comfort Xiao Xiao in a low voice. "Don't listen to Director Wang. He's crazy about the ratings of his show." Xiao Xiao nodded. "Understood." After a sleepless night, Xiao Xiao met the other two guests when he was having breakfast at the hotel in the morning. Chang Le wore a pair of glasses and looked gentle and refined. His voice was pleasant, and he was relatively polite. However, compared to Jia Ming, he was slightly inferior in terms of worldly wisdom. "Hey, Xiao Xiao. I know you're the champion of the Information Science Olympiad. Let's PK someday. I'm quite good in this aspect too." "Cool, I finally met a soulmate." Xiao Xiao closed the distance between the two with one sentence. Looking at this big boy with glasses, He was quite pleasing to the eye. The other one was Jingli. She had big eyes and was very beautiful. She looked a little cute. Xiao Xiao still remembered her appearance in the period drama. She was valiant and formidable. At that time, he didn't feel anything special when he saw her on TV. However, when he saw her in person, he realized that she was shorter than him by a head. He didn't know how she made the soles of her shoes higher. Jingli was a chatterbox and also a happy person. After greeting a group of people, she focused on Xiao Xiao. Only then did Xiao Xiao realize that she was his fan. The fan's enthusiasm scared Xiao Xiao. She almost gave him a bear hug and jumped onto him. "Brother Qiao, I came because I heard that you're participating. I finally have a chance to have intimate contact with my idol. We must eat and sleep together these 2 days." Jing Li's eyes were big and shining like X-rays. She scanned Xiao Xiao from head to toe. She even found a strand of dust on his hair. Xiao Xiao coughed twice. "Pay attention to your image. You have to pay more attention to your image when interacting with your idol." The little cutie Jing Li said impatiently. I know. After saying that, she reached out to hold Xiao Xiao's arm. Jing Shu quickly stepped forward and pulled Jing Li to the side. She said to her, "Brother Qiao likes fans to keep a distance from him. If you want to become a special existence in his heart, then you must remember this principle." Jing Li blinked her cute big eyes, looked at Jing Shu, and then looked at Xiao Xiao. "Really?" Jing Shu nodded to him with certainty. "If you are more than 10 feet away from him, he will definitely smile at you. If you are within 10 feet, he will frown at you." Jing Li listened to Jing Shu's words and experimented. Sure enough, Xiao Xiao's smile was rippling from 1 meter away. However, as soon as she wanted to hold his arm, Xiao Xiao's beautiful eyebrows twitched. Xiao Xiao secretly gave Jing Shu a thumbs up. Jing Shu directly wiped the sweat on her forehead. This boss was easy to serve, but his fans were too difficult to deal with. After they finished breakfast, the director called them for a meeting. At this time, they found that the original crew was particularly large. There were 4 assistant directors and 4 editors, not to mention the staff on the scene. Xiao Xiao and Jing Shu whispered, "It's almost time to shoot a movie." Director Wang did treat his variety show according to the level of filming a movie. He was very serious in his work and pursued perfection in everything. There was no film he made that could not win awards. The stars also put up with his pursuit of perfection because of this. "This time, we will have a new idea for the show. Why do we have to come to M country? Because there is a place here that makes people tremble when they hear it." Jing Li and Chang Li's eyes widened. Only Jia Ming seemed to have expected it. He and Xiao Xiao looked at each other and smiled bitterly. "Have any of you been to a city before?" Everyone present shook their heads. "It's not just you guys. I've never traveled here before except for work. But this time, I've given you guys a very good opportunity. There's a world-famous area here. It has another name, Death Valley. That's where we'll be filming this time." Chapter 286. Jing Li's buttocks slid down from the seat with a thud. Then he heard her cry out in pain. "Director, can I quit? My butt is broken." The director glared at her. "We've already started shooting. You deliberately fell down just now. I must give you a close-up." Jing Li's lovely eyes suddenly blinked twice, and a sweet smile appeared on her face. She flipped her hair enchantingly. "Director, I added a little atmosphere to your shooting. Shouldn't you add a dish for me at noon?" Xiao Xiao burst out laughing. The fake smile on Jing Li's face immediately turned into surprise, and a flying kiss was blown from her palm. Xiao Xiao waited for it to fly in front of him. He pretended to pinch it gently with his index finger and thumb, and threw it in the direction of Chang Lu. Chang Lu also cooperated and grabbed it, carefully placing it on his chest. Finally, Jing Li couldn't laugh anymore. She snorted at Chang Lu and turned her head away. Director Wang was amused. This was a highlight. He joked with Jing Li. "If you want to form a couple, take the initiative. I'll help you." Xiao Xiao touched his nose. The director was still going against him. Then the director continued to introduce his idea. "You will be transported back to 1882. At that time, a prospector found borax in Death Valley. That's white gold. It's the mineral with the highest profit margin in Death Valley. At that time, a capitalist businessman in City A built a borax processing plant here. He mainly hired Chinese workers to process and refine borax. You need to play the role of miners working inside. One day, when you were working, a miner suddenly died. What you need to do is to find the murderer who killed the miner. Speaking of this, Director Wang turned around, picked up a cup of tea on the table, and drank leisurely. Everyone was brought into the plot by Director Wang and began to listen carefully. But when they saw Director Wang's action, they waited for a while to continue. But after a while, Director Wang was still drinking tea. Jiaming couldn't help but ask, "Director Wang, go on." Director Wang smiled and was satisfied with the effect of keeping them in suspense. "That's it. The rest is up to you." They looked at each other. Xiao Xiao asked, "Director Wang, do you have any clues? Should I give you a few more hints?" Director Wang patted his head. "Yes, I almost forgot. The duration is 3 days and 2 nights. After that, he left the meeting room with his teacup, leaving behind a few dumbfounded people. Just like that, Xiao Xiao and the others could only discuss among themselves. However, no matter how much they discussed, they couldn't come to a conclusion. In the end, the few of them simply ignored the cameraman who was filming. Chang Le took out a few decks of cards from somewhere, and the few of them began to play. The cameraman was dumbfounded. He called out to the director, "They're playing cards. Do we still need to film?" Unexpectedly, the crafty director directly instructed, "Shoot, why not? The more relaxed they are now, the more desperate they will be when they get there. The happier they are, the better." It was rare for them to be relaxed for an entire morning. In the end, Jingli was bullied badly by the 3 big men. Her face was covered with notes, but she didn't care. "If you want to play, you should have fun. But you can stick notes, but Brother Qiao has to do it." Xiao Xiao had no choice but to tear a note, dip it in his saliva, and stick it on Jing Li's face. Unexpectedly, Jing Li's face was full of enjoyment. She stared at Xiao Xiao without blinking and said, "Brother Qiao, your skin is so good. It doesn't have any pores at all." Xiao Xiao's brows furrowed even tighter. Just like that, the morning passed. Other than the few of them, the other crew members packed their things in the morning. After lunch, they were ready to set off. "I heard that it's a 4-hour drive in the afternoon. When we get there, we can only sleep in tents." Jiaming handed Xiao Xiao a bottle of water. "It should be the driest place in country M. In summer, the highest temperature is 56 degrees Celsius. It's impossible for people to enter. Now that it's autumn, it should be better, but you should drink more water. Don't sacrifice your skin to the wind and sand." "Thank you. Director Wang is really like what you said. He lives completely in his own creativity and pursues the ultimate perfection." Xiao Xiao unscrewed the cap and took a sip. "Let's go. We can sleep in the car. We'll arrive at night." Jiaming picked up his luggage and got into the car like a hero. After Xiao Xiao got into the car, he turned on his phone and looked at Yinran's location. At that moment, she seemed to be more than 100 kilometers away from him, which was only a 2-hour drive. Xiao Xiao's little heart was already jumping with joy. As long as he finished filming this variety show, he could go on his honeymoon with Yinran in advance. The entire film crew had more than 10 cars, which were loaded with the director's dreams, props, equipment, and other daily necessities. The most important thing was the people. Every car was filled with people. In addition to the crew members, they had also recruited the local extras. There were Chinese people, and there were also people from country M. Xiao Xiao and the others were the focus of attention. They were filmed the whole time. Xiao Xiao took out a hat, covered his face, and went to sleep. Yinran and Little Six arrived in country M and flew directly to a city. After that, they were a little sad because they received information that after Director Tian retired, he went directly to a city. Someone in his family opened a Chinese restaurant, but they didn't find out the name of the restaurant. When they arrived, they found out that it was a gathering place for Chinese people. There were hundreds of thousands of people, and there were as many as 6,000 Chinese restaurants. Yinran and Little Six looked at the information they had just received. "Let's split up. We can only search one restaurant at a time." Therefore, Although Qiao Xiao arrived many days later, Yinran spent all her time looking for people. Today, Yinran came to the 4020th restaurant, which was in the famous Chinese district. When Yinran walked into the restaurant, a Chinese waiter immediately came to greet her. Looking at the Chinese and foreigners in the restaurant, Yinran felt as if she had returned to China. The waiter eagerly handed over the menu, which was in both Chinese and English. Looking at Yinran's beautiful Chinese face, the waiter immediately introduced the specialties of the restaurant in Chinese. Our restaurant is opened by people in North City. We provide authentic roast duck. The crispy duck skin and meat are spread on paper-thin pancakes, with thin cucumber slices and scallions and sweet sauce. We guarantee that you will taste the same as you taste in China. Also, the eel glutinous rice is our specialty. The waiter was still talking, but Yinran only heard one sentence. Opened by people in North City. So she took out the photo and asked the waiter, "Is this your boss?" The waiter looked carefully. "He's not our boss, but he looks familiar. I think he's a delivery man." Yinran immediately asked, "Is this person here today?" The waiter looked around. "I didn't see him today, but he comes here often. If you want to find him, come here every day and wait. He will be here within a week." Yinran was overjoyed. It seemed that she had found him. She immediately sent a message to Little Six, telling him to come over and wait. However, Yinran was a little puzzled. How did Minister Tian become a delivery man? If what the higher-ups said was true, then Minister Tian should be someone who lived in a pile of money in the United States. After waiting for a few days, they tried all kinds of ways to eat the duck in the restaurant. Finally, one night, a small truck drove to the back door of the kitchen. A disabled man got out and moved boxes of goods into the kitchen. The waiter had become familiar with Yinran over the past few days. When she saw that the person that Yinran was waiting for had arrived, she immediately went to the front hall to inform them. Yinran and Little Six rushed to the back door and were surprised to see the legendary Minister Tian limping back to the truck. He then struggled to pick up a box of goods with one hand and carried it on his shoulder, while the other hand was obviously weak and drooping. Yinran gave a look, and Little Six immediately stepped forward. "Let me help you." He took the box from Minister Tian's shoulder and was about to walk in. "Stop! Who are you? Are you trying to steal my goods?" Minister Tian shouted angrily and limped toward Little Six. Little Six saw that he had been misunderstood and was about to answer. Unexpectedly, Minister Tian was so fierce that he picked up a stick and swung it at Little Six. Yinran hurriedly released a stream of spiritual energy and stopped Minister Tian. "Minister Tian, we came from the country to find you." Minister Tian's eyes were full of vigilance. Seeing that he was stopped, he stared at Yinran. "Cultivator?" Yinran nodded. "Yes, I'm Yinran from the Southern aristocratic family." After hearing their identities, Minister Tian ignored them and walked back to the truck to continue moving the goods. Little Six didn't dare to help anymore. He could only watch helplessly as Minister Tian unloaded the truck full of goods and settled the bill with the restaurant staff. Only then did the matter end. Yinran saw that he was done with his work and wanted to drive away. Yinran put her hand in front of him and stiffly said, "Minister Tian, we came all the way here to find you because we have something to ask. Please find a place where we can talk. We won't take up too much of your time." Yinran reached out and flicked the garbage pile next to her. Piles of garbage fell down. "Minister Tian, you can't hide." After 10 minutes, Minister Tian, Yinran and Little Six finally sat on a bench by the roadside. "Minister Tian, we're here to ask you to tell us what happened that year and why you retired." Yinran didn't waste any more time and went straight to the point. "You're his people?" Minister Tian asked bluntly. "Whose people?" Yinran was puzzled. "Are you still in the dark? Or are you already worried about the tiger?" Minister Tian's temper got worse. Yinran guessed even more. "You're talking about Minister Zhou, who took over you?" Minister Tian sneered. "Minister Zhou? Why is he a minister? He's done all kinds of bad things and has no conscience. He's the biggest parasite in the country. Are you sent by them to silence me? Why go through so much trouble? He's so capable. He can just monitor my people from afar." Yinran was shocked by his words. Minister Tian. Are you sure you're talking about Minister Zhou? Chapter 287. Of course I'm sure. Zhou Jiutian. I won't forgive him even if he dies. Look, I used to be a healthy person with abundant spiritual energy, a happy family, and devoted to the country. But now, I can only live like a stray dog under his watch. Department head Tian's eyes were filled with despair and pain. You must find it strange that he didn't kill me directly. Haha. That's because we are above the virtualization stage in the cultivation world. If we harm human lives, we will be devoured. You think it's just a belief, but it's actually a curse passed down by cultivators. There will be retribution. Department head Tian's eyes were wide open, and he was furious. He glared at Yinran fiercely. You think it's good to live, but for me death is a relief. Yinran was shocked. So there was such a thing. No wonder she could survive, and no wonder her grandfather wasn't executed. Department head Tian, is what you said true? What kind of person is Department head Zhou? Unexpectedly, Department head Tian stood up and was about to leave. Yinran pulled him back. Department head Tian, I hope you can tell us the truth. What's the use of telling you the truth? Zhou Jiutian is very powerful. Even I can't defeat him. Do you want to rebel? Yinran hurriedly blocked Department head Tian's path and said anxiously. Department head Tian, to be honest, I'm very surprised to see you. I didn't expect you to be so miserable abroad. I received news that you colluded with the Eastern aristocratic family and did a lot of bad things. You transferred all the money out of the country. In fact, I'm here this time to find out the truth. If what you said is true, then Department head Zhou lied to me. Department head Tian closed his eyes. I have to go back. If I'm late, the people watching me will report to him. Then can we go back with you? Then tell me, who are you? I'm the current manager of the cultivation world, but Department head Zhou is my immediate superior. However, I have doubts about him, so I want to ask you for the truth. Yinran said very sincerely. Minister Tian looked at her for a full 2 minutes. The corners of his mouth moved, and his fists clenched and unclenched. Finally his lips moved. Come with me. Yinran and Little Six got into the truck that Minister Tian drove. There was a smell of rotten vegetables in the truck. Little Six wrinkled his nose, but in the end, he didn't cover it with his hand. Yinran was even more indifferent. She didn't say anything. She sat in the front passenger seat and looked straight ahead. The small truck went around dozens of streets. After driving for about 2 hours, it stopped in front of a slum. This was simply a small shed built next to a smelly ditch. A foul stench assailed their nostrils. Minister Tian seemed to be used to it. He went into the small shed. There were a total of 5 beds inside. He sat on one of the military beds. There was only a thin blanket on it. There was not even a pillow. Look, this is where I live. Minister Tian's tone was calm. You can't leave? Do you have to stay here? Little Six asked angrily. I can't leave. Someone will come to check in a while. Do you see the camera? They will monitor from time to time. You should stay away from the camera. Otherwise, you will be caught in it. Everyone here needs to be monitored. We can't go anywhere. We have to do hard work every day. My task is considered light. I help deliver food to various restaurants. What will happen if they find out that you are not here? Haha, you are cultivators. Don't you know what the consequences will be? I am immortal now. Where can I go? Have you been living like this since you retired? Yinran couldn't describe her feelings. She frowned and clenched her fists. Her nails dug into her palms. Minister Tian, can you tell me again? The Eastern aristocratic family cheated so much money. Where did it go in the end? I only found out later that the Eastern aristocratic family cheated so much money. At first, your grandfather, Elder Yan, was a subordinate that I valued very much. He was an upright person. Although sometimes he was strict with his subordinates, I trusted him. But the Eastern aristocratic family was different. Their elder Yi was cunning, and always played tricks in front of me. I didn't like him very much. I don't know when he hooked up with Zhou Jiutian, but I know that the Eastern aristocratic family gave the panacea to Zhou Jiutian, and then used it on me. Yinran's body shook. It turned out that Minister Tian was the same as her. He was poisoned by the Eastern aristocratic family, and Minister Zhou was the culprit. Just as she was about to ask more questions, a voice suddenly came from the camera. We'll start the roll call now. Number 463 Tianqing. Minister Tian turned his face to the camera and said, I'm here. Then the camera went silent. You guys can go back. I've already said what I need to say. The longer you stay here, the more danger you'll be in. I'm already in this state. I can only hope that my time will come sooner. You guys are still young. Live your lives well. I also wanted to resist, but Zhou Jiutian is sinister and vicious. Did you see my hands and feet? This is the result of a failed resistance. You are on your own. Then Minister Tian didn't speak anymore. He lay on his small bed and covered his stomach with the small blanket. He didn't speak anymore. Minister Zhou, I received a tip that Tianqing met two strangers and talked with them for a long time. Department head Tian didn't expect that the person who named him didn't find anything fishy in the camera. But the other people who were in the slums with him had already become department head Zhou's lackeys in order to suffer less pain. The moment Yin Ran and Xiao Lu appeared, someone immediately reported it. What do they look like? Tell me in detail. Zhou Jiutian's cold voice came from the phone. There are two people, a man and a woman. The woman is especially beautiful. She is slim and expressionless. She has a cold temperament. The other person seems to be her follower. F***CK. It's actually Yin Ran. How did Yin Ran go to Country M? How did she find Minister Tian? Shangfeng's hand clenched the phone tightly. The fountain pen in his left hand broke into two with a snap. What else did they say? I didn't hear what they said. But Minister Tian looked impatient and chased them away after a few words. It seems that Yin Ran is obedient to me on the surface, but she still has some doubts in her heart. Continue to observe and report to me immediately if there are any new developments. Zhou Jiutian lit a cigarette and walked to the office window. He looked at the bustling cars below. He was recalling the time he spent with Yin Ran. Since he failed to get his way last time, there was an ice wall between the two of them. He tried his best but couldn't break it. Yin Ran was a stubborn person, and she was very smart. It seemed that the witness they found last time did not completely convince her. She needed to get confirmation in person. Or did she directly want to go to Country M to arrest Minister Tian and bring him to justice? As a result, she directly proved Minister Tian's innocence by accident. Zhou Jiutian took a deep breath and blew out a smoke ring. The smoke ring curled upward, as if a shackle was spreading in the air. At this moment, he felt that he was shackled by a shackle, and the person who threw the shackle on the street was Yin Ran. All his efforts were in vain, and all his original plans were disrupted. He didn't expect Yin Ran to be such a persistent person. She secretly flew to Country M. He turned on his phone and found that Yin Ran's location was still in Nanchuan. F***CK. He didn't even bring the phone for secret contact. He didn't know how much Minister Tian had said, but in his current situation, Yin Ran would definitely not believe that he had embezzled so much money. Shangfeng picked up the phone and dialed the contact in City A. Find a way to throw Tianqing into Death Valley and let him fend for himself. Remember, you must not kill him directly. Things were so coincidental. On the second day after Yin Ran and the others found Minister Tian disappeared. Yin Ran directly captured the few people who lived with him and used her spiritual power to threaten them. As a result, these people were so scared that they wet their pants. But they still couldn't tell her where department head Tian went. Yin Ran found out from their mouths that these people used to be cultivators. Because of different reasons, they had offended Zhou Jiutian and were all locked up in this dark place. Every day, someone would come to call them out and make them do hard labor. They had no dignity and only wanted to die. Yin Ran felt that it was quite terrible. Shangfeng was a knowledgeable, elegant, mature and charming man who looked gentle and elegant, but he actually hid such a dirty soul. Before she lost her memory, she seemed to have fallen in love with him. Now she finally understood why Shangfeng suddenly expressed his love to her. He must have had a plan. Yin Ran felt a lingering fear. If she had lost her memory and really agreed with him, her life would have come to an end, and the cultivation world would have been destroyed. Yinran shivered fiercely. Minister Tian was a key figure and an important witness. Nothing must happen to him. She had to bring him back safely. The other people beside the smelly ditch already knew that Yinran was not the person sent by Zhou Jiotian to punish them. They knelt down in front of Yinran and said, "Heroine, please save us. Our life here is too miserable. We want to go back. We don't want to stay in this place that looks glamorous on the surface. Life here is worse than death." After that, they all burst into tears. Yinran and Little Six helped these people up and said to them, "I will avenge you, but not now. What I need now is for you to continue to cover for me. The day I defeat Zhou Jiotian will be the day you get a new life. Don't worry, it won't be too long." At this time, someone suddenly whispered, "When people came to take Tian Qing away this morning, I heard them whispering something about Death Valley. I don't know if it will work." Yinran's eyes lit up. She looked at the person and said, "Thank you." Chapter 288. The motorcade carrying the director's dream and the star's anxiety had been driving for more than 3 hours. The people in the car had slept for a few hours and slowly woke up. Xiao Xiao looked at the temperature display in the car. It was as high as 30 degrees outside the car. When they set off, the indoor temperature in City A was only about 20 degrees. He licked his lips and took out the bottle of mineral water to moisten his throat. It seemed that not only was the temperature high, but it was also very dry. Xiao Xiao found that they were driving on a winding road with no end in sight. Just as they went up a ramp, they quickly turned into another downhill slope, and then another ramp. It was as if a mysterious eye was watching you fall into its arms. In the distance, there were mountains on both sides of the road. On this endless road, Xiao Xiao and the others drove through a valley of ever-changing colors. The driver said that it was called the Artist's Palette Valley. It was a winding, one-way asphalt road with a total length of about 9 miles. Along the way, there was a turning point where they could see a landscape made up of ever-changing colors. It was like a painting by an artist. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but sigh at the uncanny workmanship of nature. It had turned this place into a masterpiece of art gifted by the heavens. The driver explained, "Because there are rich minerals such as mica, limonite, and hematite here, it forms a colorful pattern." As they drove further, the scenery became monotonous. Except for a few sporadic trees with large canopies, they could only see large stones. At this time, Xiao Xiao finally understood the meaning of Death Valley. The sky gradually darkened. The stones here, after being baked by the high temperature during the day, were even harder and colder when night came. The surrounding began to be filled with the smell of death, passing through the dark, neat, and knife-like wilderness cliffs. Xiao Xiao opened the window a little and felt the waves of heat outside. Accompanied by the residual heat of the steam on his face, the wind whistled past his ears. Everything was so silent. "Brother Qiao, it looks so empty and lonely here." Jingli couldn't bear the loneliness and squeezed into the seat beside Xiao Xiao. The girl who had just woken up had a slightly swollen face, and the dry air made her skin look a little rough. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but think of his Yanran. Even if her thin face was swollen, it would never be swollen so obviously. Her jade-like skin seemed to be constantly watered by the rain. It was fresh and moist to the touch. Xiao Xiao turned around and continued to look out the window. "Brother Qiao, there are only rocks outside the window. What's there to see?" They said that the more you walk on this path to Death Valley, the more you can feel the aura of death. There are no signs of life. Isn't it very scary? "I'll follow behind you when the time comes. You have to remember to protect me." Jingli turned around and stared at Xiao Zhao's side profile, her eyes full of admiration. "The director won't really let you be so scary. Don't worry," Chang Lu added from the side. Jia Ming smiled bitterly. "You guys should be mentally prepared. The director will definitely let you feel the terrifying aura of death. Otherwise, this Death Valley will be in vain." "Who said it's all the aura of death? Look, I've already seen a few of these trees. Isn't that the life force of Death Valley?" Xiao Xiao pointed at a tall tree in the distance. Jiaming took a look. "I know. This is the very famous Joshua tree here. From afar, don't you think it looks like a huge cactus?" Chang Li took a closer look. "It's true. You said it's a tree. It has the sharp thorns of a cactus. The tree crown is so big. I thought I saw a banyan tree. The tadpoles in Xiao Zhao's mind suddenly had an idea and brought up the origin of the Joshua tree. This name comes from the Bible. In the 19th century, the westward Mormons saw this tree in the desert with its scientific name Yucca brachyphylla. They thought that it grew towards the sky, and its shape was very similar to Joshua, who raised his hands and prayed to the sky in the Bible story. This prophet once led the Jews across the Jordan River and defeated the 7 tribes of Canaan. He was called a hero, so the Joshua tree became its more well-known name. Jingli looked at Xiao Xiao with admiration. You know this story too? Are you familiar with all kinds of books in the world? Xiao Xiao looked at her speechlessly. She flattered him one after another. Brother Xiao, you're a treasure boy with both looks and talent, wisdom and beauty. Xiao Xiao could only point at the camera in front of them. Pay attention to your image. Only then did Jingli remember that she had been filming the whole time. She stuck out her tongue and sat upright, but refused to return to her seat. They chatted and laughed. After driving for more than an hour, they finally arrived at their destination. When they arrived at the scene, they were really shocked. They thought that according to the director's description, there should be a huge factory in front of them. But in fact, there was only one floor that had just been built. How should they put it? The area of the earth cave was quite large. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but admire the director. It turned out that before they came, another group of people had come to set up the scene. Although it was a bit gray and terrible, it was basically completed. This industrial factory should be the borax processing factory at that time. Xiao Xiao walked into the earth cave alone. He was tall, so the entrance of the cave was low. He had to bend down to enter. The height of the floor was not low. The furnishings inside were quite simple. A few iron boilers, dissolving tanks, pipes, and operating tables were built into a simple processing workshop. The light inside was extremely dim, and there were only a few small windows on both sides above the head. The chimney connected to the top of the boiler also stretched out from these small windows. At this time, Director Wang also walked in with his head down. He looked at the built scenery with satisfaction. How is it, Xiao Xiao? How is the environment here? Xiao Xiao touched his nose. He really didn't know how to evaluate. Director Wang didn't need him to answer. He said proudly, I asked them to build it according to the ruins. When the gold rush was prevalent in the 1980s, the workers worked here. These equipment are all imitations of the items left behind. It's a one-one restoration, so that you can truly experience the atmosphere of the workers at that time. Xiao Xiao really didn't know what to say, so he had to walk out of the cave. As soon as he came out, he heard Jing Li's scream. Ah, my high heels? What kind of place is this? I can't walk at all. Xiao Xiao saw Jing Li's pair of thin high heels directly stuck in the pile of stones. Every time she took a step, the heels of her shoes would always fall off. Later, they were simply stuck and couldn't move. At this time, it was also very sad. There was no one else beside her except for a cameraman. The closest person was Chang Lu, about 10 steps away. Jing Li looked up at this time and was about to call Chang Lu to help. But she didn't turn her eyes and saw Xiao Xiao about 50 meters away from her. She immediately raised her right hand high and shook it in the air. Brother Xiao, help, I'm stuck. Xiao Xiao looked up at the sky. An eagle let out a mournful cry and glided across the sky. Xiao Xiao walked a few steps and turned to the back of the temporary factory. Jing Li's originally excited expression immediately collapsed. She could only take off her high heels and squat barefoot on the ground, waiting for help. Jing Shu watched this scene from behind and sighed in her heart. If it was the lady boss, the boss would have come up and carried her away. The difference in treatment was really too big. In front of the factory, there were a few mule carts parked. Xiao Xiao guessed that they were probably waiting for the borax transport vehicles. In general, it was just as Jiaming said. It was absolutely so real that you didn't want to look forward to it. Jing Shu went forward to pull Jing Li up and helped her back to the car. The poor person found a pair of sports shoes. But why did it look so strange when paired with her silk skirt? At this time, the director finished checking the set layout and stood in the open space in front of the factory with a smile. He said loudly, Everyone is tired from the journey today. It's been a bit tiring. However, tomorrow may be even more tiring. So let's rest tonight and officially start shooting tomorrow morning. Jia Ming came forward and patted Xiao Xiao on the shoulder. How is it? This is Director Wang's style. The effect should be good, but your perfect appearance will probably be ruined by him. Xiao Xiao replied. Anyway, my goddess won't be able to see it. It doesn't matter. She won't even watch it when it's broadcast. I'll find a way to make her busy, hee. Xiao Xiao smiled wretchedly. Next, it was time for them to eat and wear. The few of them and the crew took out their tents for the night and prepared to set up camp. The most capable one was actually Xiao Xiao. The most miserable one was Jingli. However, it was understandable. She was a girl, so she didn't need to do this kind of physical work. Xiao Xiao and the others set up the tent and went in to feel it. It was all right. Although it was still hot outside at night, they could still have a good night's sleep after opening up the sides of the tent and letting in the wind. There were a few extras with them. They knew more information. According to them, there were still many extras. They had already come a few times. This place was small, and they all slept on the other side of the mountain. Changla was surprised. How could a variety show be like a movie? There were so many extras. Of course, in order to pursue reality, the director not only brought us, but also some blonde and blue-eyed people. I'm talking about them. They live on the other side. Well, filming abroad without external help is really a waste of the foreign theme. The extras didn't know the specific plot. They only knew that the director gave them double the price of an ordinary shoot. They guessed that it might be because of the hot weather. However, acting was really a hobby for them. It didn't matter how much money they had. The key was to be able to integrate into it and feel the charm of acting. Jia Ming gave them a thumbs up. You have a realm, a pursuit, and a soul. The next morning, Xiao Xiao really saw the truth of what the director said. Chapter 289. Xiao Xiao was woken up by the roar of machinery. A group of blonde men had already started work. They were working with the director to figure out the details of the scene. A HEI man was installing a large loudspeaker on the scene. After he jumped down from the rack, he turned on a switch, and the sound from the loudspeaker was deafening. White gold! White gold! A long string of English words was repeated after a while. It was simply ear-piercing. Xiao Xiao immediately got up. He didn't even have time to pack up the tent. He quickly escaped the raging noise in his ears. The others were also woken up. They looked out of the tent with sleepy eyes. After a while, they realized that they had transmigrated to 1882. After everyone tidied up, they took the clothes that the prop team brought them. They wanted to throw them far away. They were so dirty that they looked like they were picked up from the garbage. Jingli was even more exaggerated. She hid behind Xiao Xiao and covered her nose, as if she had already smelled the stench on the clothes. The director was angry. Don't you actors have any professionalism? If I had known, I would have given you dirty clothes. These are clean clothes. They are painted with all kinds of paint. They look dirty. Do you smell the stench? Does it stink? Xiao Xiao held it in his hand and sniffed. It's not the smell of dirty clothes. It's the smell of all kinds of paint. Director Wang shouted again. Hurry up and change. I don't want to hear another word of no from you. After changing the clothes, it was time to put on makeup. Xiao Xiao looked at himself in the mirror. Basically, other than a pair of shining white eyes, he couldn't see any other white color. His originally white skin was smeared with black mud-like decorations. There were patches here and there. There was only black. Jia Ming looked at Xiao Xiao and smiled. I'm finally balanced. Our looks are on the same level. Jingli came over and said, Movie King Jia, Brother Qiao's eyelashes are longer than yours. His eyes are better than yours. It's just that his skin is a little darker. He's still a few streets ahead of you. Changla burst out laughing at the side. Brother Ming, between a fan and your idol, you can't allow others to say anything unpleasant. Jia Ming rubbed his nose. You're right. You won't argue with a little girl. After they finished packing up, they lined up in front of the factory door to receive the director's lecture and explanation. Director Wang said passionately, You have now traveled back in time to 1882. This year, there was a gold rush in country M, and many Chinese people were hired here in order to find gold. You have to play the role of a few gold hunters. The gold here is not referring to gold but to borax. Borax is white gold, which is very valuable at that time. Look at the place in the distance that looks like a saline alkali land. That's the place where you want to pan the borax. After that, Director Wang paused for a moment and smiled strangely. This is the beginning of the story. You need to rely on your own labor to earn 1.3 a day because you need money to buy food for the day. If you're not hungry, you don't have to buy it. Okay, please get in position and start shooting. That's it. Jingli shouted. Director, you gave us too little information. What are we going to do? The director directly pulled the cameraman over, and a long lens was directly aimed at Jingli's face. Jingli was so scared that she quickly shut her mouth. At this time, a foreigner came directly and waved at them. Come on. Each of them was assigned a sieve, a shovel and a bag. Then they were taken to the saline alkali land. At this time, there were already many extras on the ground, and they began to work. They scooped up a shovel of white sand from the ground and poured it into the sieve. Then, they began to sift back and forth with the sieve. One of them picked up a white grain the size of a sesame seed and put it in the cloth bag next to him. This was like looking for a needle in a haystack. They only found 1 grain after so much sand, and they had to hand in 100 grains a day. Okay, this deceitful Director Wang. Jiaming looked at the camera behind him and smiled. Then he squatted down and started to work. Xiao Xiao and Chang Lu also learned from the extras and began to sift the borax. Jingli was the most delicate. After squatting for 2 seconds, her legs went numb. She kept standing up and shaking her legs. Then she squatted down and continued to sift. They woke up early. At first, they didn't feel anything. After a while, the dry heat came. The sun above their heads was like a big fireball, directly covering their bodies. After a while, their mouths and tongues were dry. Jingli looked at the supervisor beside them and asked him, "Do you have water to drink?" Unexpectedly, the supervisor waved a stick beside her. The raised gravel almost flew into her face. Jingli was so scared that she screamed. Then, she heard the supervisor say angrily, "Do it! Now!" His aura was like that of a bully, so fierce that he wanted to break people's legs. Jingli didn't dare to say anything more. She endured her thirst and physical discomfort, and began to sift the borax seriously. Although there wasn't much borax, she could still get 1 or 2 out of 10 shovels. The supervisor became more and more strict. He walked around them and waved the stick in his hand from time to time. This scene reminded Xiao Xiao of the death row prisoners who built the city walls in the demon world. If they were careless, they would be whipped immediately. Here the scene was similar, except that the stick didn't fall on them. It wasn't much better. After a while, even his legs were sore from squatting. He stood up and moved a little. He only saw Chang Lu wiping his sweat non-stop, and he didn't find much in his cloth bag. At this time, they were so thirsty that they were out of breath. The supervisor was on the side and didn't say anything, although the loudspeaker in the distance was far away. In the case of physical exhaustion, it was like a thunder over their heads. Waves of tinnitus hit their ears. Just in front of Xiao Zhao's eyes, Jingli directly fainted from the sun. At this time, he didn't have any pity for the fairer sex at all. He directly called a few people to carry Jingli down. At this time, the director's voice came from his ears. Good acting. The scene at that time was like this. There were many people who fainted from the gold. You guys can do it. Xiao Xiao staggered and was almost shocked to death by the director's words. Their variety show was really unscrupulous. Just like that, it was almost noon. The sun had already made them extremely hot. Chang Lu secretly said that his eyes were blurry. Everything he saw was white. Not to mention borax. Even the figures of people had turned into a few. Gradually, the extras couldn't take it anymore. Although they were treated better and could pick up mineral water to drink from time to time, after being exposed to the sun, they were as tired as dogs. Their phones were handed in, but fortunately, there wasn't even a cloud in the empty sky. As long as they looked up, they would know where the sun was. Finally, when it was almost noon, the director was merciful and let them rest. Everyone hid in the simple factory that they looked down on the most to avoid the heat. Finally, there was water to drink. After Jingli fainted, it was a blessing in disguise. After being fed the anti-heat medicine, she had already woken up. At this time, other than feeling a little nauseous, she was fine. She smiled as she looked at the few people who had been tanned by the sun. She squeezed to Qiao Zhao's side and handed over the anti-heat medicine in her hand. Brother Qiao quickly relieved the heat. It's time to eat. It's time to eat. An extra pushed a cart in. There were several layers of sandwiches neatly placed inside. Changla rushed forward and was about to take one when the extra who was selling rice stopped him with his hand and smiled strangely. It costs money. Then he pointed to the opposite side. Changla turned his head and realized that there was another long line in a place they didn't notice. The person who had panned for gold with them was holding a bag of borax in his hand to settle the bill. Changla looked at the bag in his hand stiffly. There were only a few dozen pills. Could this be exchanged for money? At this time, Jingli couldn't smile anymore. Because she fainted in the morning, there were only a few pills in the bag. When it was her turn, the person who settled the bill said directly, "It's too little. We can't exchange it." Next, she returned to Qiao Zhao's side with a sad face. "Brother Qiao, you can't ignore your fans. I'm going to starve for lunch." After all, Qiao Zhao and the others still exchanged some money. Together, it was just enough to buy 3 sandwiches. However, the 3 men still couldn't bear to see Jingli cry alone, so they could only give her a little from each of their hands. Jingli was so moved that she was about to cry. She wanted to give each of them a bear hug, but she didn't expect Qiao Zhao to refuse. The other 2 directly said that they were too dirty, and that they would hug her again when they were free. Nothing happened in the morning. The plot that the director said didn't develop at all. Several people were a little surprised. Jiaming understood Director Wang. It will take a total of 3 days. The background of the story must be explained clearly. Sure enough, the outdoor shooting in the morning was finished. In the afternoon, they finally changed the scene. Jingli breathed a sigh of relief. If she was exposed to the sun for another afternoon, she would probably still be hungry at night. Thankfully, they were shooting directly in the factory in the afternoon. It turned out that there was still a lot of follow-up work to do with the sifted borax. The work that the director gave to Qiao Zhao and the others was to burn the boiler. There were a total of 4 boilers in the factory, about the height of a person. The ground was piled with coal to burn the boilers. Qiao Zhao and the others needed to constantly heat the boilers and keep the flames hot. This way, the borax could be dissolved, and there was a pipe that flowed the dissolved borax to the next process. Jingli was originally glad that she was lucky. However, when she got a shovel that was as tall as her, she found that it seemed to be more difficult than being exposed to the sun in the morning. How could her originally slender jade-like arms shovel so many pieces of coal on the ground? In just 2 shovels, the coal was scattered all over the ground. What was worse was that the opening of the boiler was relatively small. It would take a lot of arm strength for a big shovel to accurately put the coal into the boiler. Jingli tried twice and directly gave up. She took advantage of her cuteness and walked in front of the group performance supervisor. "I'll show you a dance. Can you help me change to an easier job?" Chapter 290. The group of supervisors didn't expect such an operation. They used their eyes to ask a director. Unexpectedly, the director actually nodded excitedly. Then, they heard the director say in the headset, "In the past, in order to fight for some benefits, the gold diggers often did this kind of behavior. It can stir up the atmosphere of the scene." The group of supervisors received the director's instructions and pretended to be hesitant. "That depends on how well you dance." When Jingli saw that there was hope, she immediately spun a few rounds on the spot and did a Xinjiang dance with her neck moving. Unexpectedly, the people around didn't have any reaction. It was as if they were looking at an ordinary landscape painting. The supervisor crossed his arms and spread his legs wide open. He stuck out his stomach and smiled wretchedly. "If your dance can move me, I'll consider changing it for you. Let's do something exciting. let's do something exciting. The group of extras put down their work and surrounded Jingli, looking at her excitedly. At this moment, Jingli realized that she seemed to have done something stupid. However, at this moment she couldn't back down. She could only do a vigorous dance. There were a few moves that were sexy and seductive, making the group of men satisfied. However, when the supervisor smiled and gave her a small shovel, she widened her eyes and looked at him in disbelief. The supervisor shrugged helplessly. It's the director's arrangement. Jingli had no choice but to return to her boiler with the small shovel and continue to shovel the coal. However, her dance was still worth it. The small shovel was much lighter. She could shovel it, and she wouldn't scatter the coal outside anymore. The factory in the afternoon was not much better than the outside, under the baking of several boilers. After all, Xiao Xiao had practiced mana critical strike before, so this bit of living was not too bad for him. Other than his arms being a little sore and his body being roasted very hot, there was nothing else. However, Jiaming and Changla couldn't do it. The two of them were already a little dizzy from being baked in the furnace. Many of the coal that was placed precisely in the furnace began to scatter on the ground. Brother Ming, is your arm okay? Why does it feel like it doesn't belong to me anymore? Jiaming looked and saw that Chang Li's arm was shaking involuntarily. The coal on the shovel spilled down uncontrollably. He stopped what he was doing. This won't do. Let's rest for a while. I'll give you a massage. The two of them swung their arms around each other, but they did not expect that the supervisor who was patrolling the factory had already noticed the two of them slacking off. He came over with a stick and swung it fiercely on the ground, smashing the scattered pieces of media on the ground. You're not allowed to slack off, or I'll deduct your wages. You're not allowed to eat dinner. My arm really can't move anymore. Let us rest for a while. Changla said to the supervisor in a good mood. Unexpectedly, the supervisor completely ignored him. Hurry up and get to work. I've already said that if you slack off, your wages will be deducted. You won't be able to eat tonight. Changla couldn't help but panic. Isn't it just filming a variety show? I've never heard of them torturing the actors to death. The supervisor immediately said fiercely. There are no variety shows here, no actors, only laborers. If you want to do it, then do it. If you don't want to do it, then leave. Jiaming quickly tried to smooth things over. We're just resting for a while. We'll get back to work immediately. However, the supervisor was still unwilling to let it go. Actors nowadays are not professional at all. They can't take any hardships. Look at the extras over there. Which one of them is complaining? I really don't know how they became celebrities. Changla felt uncomfortable when he heard this. How are we not professional? Didn't we do everything we were told to do? We've been washing sand outside all morning and are already dizzy from the sun. We're doing such hard physical work in the afternoon. Now we're just shaking our arms a little. How is that not professional? Don't talk nonsense. The supervisor seemed to be doing it on purpose. He just wanted to go against Chang Le. He kept cursing and talking nonstop. Xiao Xiao hurriedly went forward to pull Chang Le and covered his mouth. It's just filming a show. It'll be over soon. Don't be angry. Seeing that they finally stopped talking back, the supervisor scolded a few more times. Hurry up and get to work. With that, he turned around and walked away. Seeing that the situation had finally calmed down, Xiao Xiao let go of Chang Li's hand and returned to his stove to continue working. On the other hand, Chang Li was unhappy. He raised the shovel at the side and pretended to wave it at the back of the supervisor's head before continuing to work at his stove. Jiaming shook his head. He's still young and immature. He can't hold it in anymore. After saying that, he looked at Xiao Xiao again. Just like them, Xiao Xiao had suffered a lot today. He only had a few sandwiches for lunch, so he must be hungry. However, this young man was good-looking and had strong endurance. He would definitely become a capable person in the future. Jiaming couldn't help but look at Xiao Xiao in a new light. The afternoon work was finally done. When they heard the director call for a stop, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. At this time, the factory was like a steamer for steamed buns. Each of them was like a shrimp that was about to be cooked. Jingli was the first to rush out of the factory. It was still more than 30 degrees outside, but as soon as she went out, Jingli felt a cool breeze blowing on her face. The wind blew through the clothes that stuck to her body. She picked up the mineral water and drank it. A cool feeling went down her esophagus to her stomach. Comfortable. In view of their performance in the afternoon, they didn't make any big mistakes. Everyone finally received a big sandwich for the evening. However, after working for a day, no matter how big the sandwiches were, they couldn't make up for the loss of physical strength from a day of physical work. They finished it in a few bites, but their hunger was still there. They looked at Director Wang, who was eating sandwiches with them. He ate very slowly, as if the sandwich was a feast. Xiao Xiao couldn't help but ask, "Director Wang, why are you eating so slowly?" Director Wang said with a smile, "We are all in the process of time travel. Only by experiencing everything that the people in the past have experienced can we restore the truth of the past." Xiao Xiao had a good impression of Director Wang at this time. It seems that he is really a very dedicated and crazy director. Only such a persistent person can succeed. The original dissatisfaction and complaints were blown away by the wind with this sentence. Director Wang continued, "I'm the same as you. I'm also very hungry. I usually eat a lot. If I finish it in 2 or 3 bites like you, then my stomach won't feel anything at all. In order to prevent hunger from waking me up at night, I can only eat as slowly as possible. So when I finish eating, my stomach will feel full." Xiao Xiao fell into deep thought. She had learned another move. Sure enough, as the director said, Xiao Xiao woke up directly at night due to hunger. After such heavy physical work during the day, he thought that he would definitely sleep until dawn. He probably wouldn't even remember Yanran. But he didn't expect that his biological clock was so powerful. The hunger defeated everything, and he woke up without warning. Then he couldn't sleep anymore. He remembered that he seemed to have some food in his suitcase, but the suitcase was left in the car when he came. It seemed that he could only find a way to sneak to get it. He listened to everything around him. Everything was quiet. Only the evening wind was swirling the sand in the air. He opened the tent. On the left was Jiaming. He could hear his voice. It seemed that he was tired. On the right should be Changlu. But at this time, the tent on the right was wide open. Changlu was not in it at all. Xiao Xiao didn't care too much about where Changlu went. Maybe it was convenient, or maybe it was the same as him. He rubbed his stomach, gathered his devil energy, and flew in the direction of the car. The car was still a little far away. When Xiao Xiao arrived, he found that the car door was open. He smiled in his heart. It seemed that there was another hungry ghost like him. He was one step ahead of him. It was probably Changlu. He walked to the front of the car and looked inside, but he didn't see anything. He didn't care. He originally wanted to find a way to open the door, but now it was good. He could just take the food directly. Xiao Xiao found his suitcase. From the bottom, he found a pack of biscuits that he stuffed in before he came. It seemed to be the leftovers of Jingshu. No matter who it was, it belonged to whoever had it now. Xiao Xiao opened the biscuit and ate it happily. Opposite him was a wasteland made of giant-like stones. He couldn't see the end of it at a glance. If he went further, it would probably be a desert. Xiao Xiao turned around and faced the dark mountain. The mysterious and lonely stones piled up to the sky, as if they would pass through the sky at any time. The only thing that accompanied them was the scattered Joshua trees at the foot of the mountain. The air smelled fresh. Although there was less vegetation, there was a burst of fragrance coming from somewhere. It was gentle and charming under the accompaniment of the stars in the sky. After Xiao Xiao finished eating the biscuits, he took the biscuit bag and threw it somewhere. The garbage in the country was sorted, but there wasn't even a garbage can abroad. Xiao Xiao simply stuffed the bag back into the suitcase, closed the car door, stretched, and prepared to go back to sleep. When he returned to the tent, he was surprised to find that Chang Li's tent next door was still open, and there was no one inside. Does it take so long to relieve yourself? Xiao Xiao was hit by sleepiness. He couldn't care less about Chang Li, and went straight back to the tent to meet Yanran. The night passed without a word. The next morning, when Xiao Xiao woke up, he found that other than the people in their tents, there was no one else around. Xiao Xiao and Jiaming looked at each other. That's not right. Even the cameraman is not here. This is someone who can't wait to shoot you in the face. It's good enough that he didn't secretly take photos of you sleeping. Why is there no one around this great opportunity this morning? Let's go. Call Changlu. Is there finally a problem today? Jiaming said. Changlu is not here. Xiao Xiao then realized that Changli's tent was the same as last night. Even the zipper at the opening had not been moved. Did he not come back last night? After a while, they heard the loudspeaker shouting, "Emergency assembly, emergency assembly." When Xiao Xiao and Jiaming rushed to the factory where they worked yesterday, they found that something had really happened. There was a corpse lying in the middle of the factory. Chapter 291. Little Six Death Valley Save Someone. If it weren't for the sudden situation on Xiao Zhao's side, he would definitely be able to see Yinran's little red dot on his phone constantly approaching him. Yinran rented a car with Little Six, bought 2 maps of a city, and headed towards the famous Death Valley. Sister Yinran, I heard that Death Valley is mysterious and terrifying. There was once a convoy that entered and was completely wiped out. Little Six drove and told Yinran the information he found on the internet. That was a legend in the past. It should have become a scenic spot now. Yinran was also scrolling through her phone and doing her homework. I heard that there are still many unsolved mysteries. Moreover, Death Valley is so big. I'm really worried that we won't be able to find Minister Tian. The internet says that it's about 2,000 kilometers. Little Six was really a little worried. Yinran rubbed her forehead. Let's talk about it when we get there. There will always be a way. Little Six drove the car on the highway. There were very few cars in M country to begin with. On this road leading to Death Valley, Little Six drove for dozens of kilometers without encountering a single car. Yinran looked at the scenery on both sides that kept falling back. There were rugged rocks, and the vegetation gradually decreased. The winding road had no end in sight. The aura of death hit her in the face. Sister Yinran, you should sleep for a while first. We still have to drive for about 3 hours. Little Six looked at Yinran's expressionless beautiful face. His eyes were already faintly bloodshot. Ever since they arrived in M country, Yinran had been frowning. Little Six sighed in his heart. This king of cultivation really worried too much about humans. The corpse lying in the middle of the simple factory building was the group supervisor from yesterday. There was a dagger in his body. Xiao Xiao finally saw Changlu. His hands were tied, and he was kneeling on the ground. He hadn't changed his clothes. It was still the gold-digging suit that was covered in mud from yesterday. However, it was now covered in dust. The real mud was all wrapped around his body. His entire face was also black, as if he had rolled in a quagmire. His face was filled with grief and indignation, as if his eyes were bloodshot after a sleepless night. Meanwhile, a few other people were punching and kicking him from behind. Changlu was beaten until his mouth was full of vulgarities. Xiao Xiao and Jiaming rushed forward to stop them. They shielded Changlu behind them. What's wrong? What's going on? One of them said angrily. Ask him, what did he do last night? The other few people also stared at Changlu with fire in their eyes. Xiao Xiao could only turn around and ask Changlu, who was kneeling on the ground. I'm really unlucky. I went out to eat and relieve myself, but I didn't expect to be followed. I don't know how, but I was knocked unconscious. When I woke up, I was already here. They insisted that I killed the supervisor. Xiao Xiao and Jiaming looked at the cameras around them and understood that the show was about to start. After Changlu finished speaking, the few people rushed forward and wanted to continue beating him. Xiao Xiao hurriedly stopped them. Are you trying to find the murderer now? Why are we still looking for the murderer? The murderer is right in front of us. He must be the murderer. Yesterday, he was the one who had an argument with the supervisor. I even saw him trying to hit the supervisor with a shovel. The ferocious extra was about to charge forward again. Jiaming immediately stopped him. There had to be evidence and a motive to kill someone. Do you have evidence? Of course there is evidence. We found the 2 of them at the same time. One was already dead, and the other fainted at the side. His body was covered in scratches and blood. If he didn't kill him, why are there so many traces of a fight? What about his motive for killing? We're just here to make money. Why would he want to kill someone? Xiao Xiao asked the key question. Why? He was unhappy with the supervisor's management of him. Yesterday, the two of them almost quarreled. At that time, there were many people and they didn't fight. However, he waved the shovel. It was obvious that he wanted revenge. It was over. He couldn't explain it clearly. At this time, Changla stood up. Ignoring the rope tied behind him, he twisted his body and was about to rush forward. Jiaming hugged him and said in a low voice, "Don't be impulsive. These people will really hit people." Changla glanced and saw the director nodding slightly behind him. His heart trembled. He absolutely could not treat this as filming. This crazy director Wang would do anything in order to restore the reality at that time. Xiao Xiao also reacted. He walked forward and said to the extras, "What should we do now? What should we do? A life for a life. Just call the police to deal with it." At this time, another extra who was with them squeezed in and said in a panic, "We must not let them call the police. Our lives here are like ants. The police here are all in cahoots with them. They have always killed people for this kind of case. People die here almost every few days. They are either tired to death or wrongly beaten to death by the police." Xiao Xiao and Jiaming looked at each other and said, "It seems that if we call the police, we will definitely lose this game." Director Wang had brought them all into the movie and really traveled back to 1882. Xiao Xiao looked at the extras who rushed over and asked, "Then what should we do? We can only save Chang Lu by finding evidence ourselves. Please give us some time. We will find the murderer." Xiao Xiao looked at the fierce-looking people. 2 days at most. You only have 2 days. And if you want to find the culprit in these 2 days, you won't be able to work. You won't have any money. The extra looked at Xiao Xiao and Jiaming, and there was a mysterious smile in his eyes. No money meant no food. Did they have to be so *******? This is an emergency. Can you give us food in advance? We will try to find the murderer as soon as possible and pay you back later." Xiao Xiao took off the watch on his wrist and handed it to the extras. The extras looked up at the director and weighed the watch in his hand. "All right, I'll keep it with me for now. This watch can only be used to pay for 1 meal a day. If you want it, you can come over and work. I'll redeem it in 2 days." Jiaming gave Xiao Xiao a thumbs up. At least they had a meal. "We can let Changla go for now. We need him to find the murderer," Xiao Xiao continued. "For the sake of the watch, let him go first. But don't think about running. There are barbed wire and alarms all around. Running is suicide." "Brother Qiao, I am with you. Don't forget me." Jingli squeezed out from the crowd. "We came together. How can I be left out when a friend is in trouble?" Xiao Xiao then remembered that he had a companion. It seemed that the director had arranged it. "Let's go." Chang Lu was finally released. He untied the rope on his hand and took a look. It was really realistic. His wrist was bleeding. Chang Lu assessed the possibility of asking the director for a band-aid and sighed. "Forget it, it's not serious." "Chang Lu, I heard that saliva can be disinfected. Why don't you lick it yourself?" Jingli looked at the dirty and bloody Chang Lu and felt sorry. Chang Lu walked to the sink and washed up briefly. Then he really started to lick his wrist. After a while his wrists were wet, but they were finally clean. "Chang Lu, tell us what happened." Jia Ming and the others walked out of the factory. The dazzling light made them squint their eyes. The sand outside hurt their feet. In the distance, the temporarily built barbed wire fence emitted a cold light under the strong sunlight. Chang Lu was depressed. "Actually, I was really dizzy. Last night, I was woken up by hunger in the middle of the night. I remembered that there were some snacks in the bag in the car, so I got up and touched the side of the car. But it was also very strange. The car door was not locked at all. The trunk opened immediately. I found my snacks and put them back to their original place after eating. Originally, I wanted to go to sleep directly, but I was a little anxious. So I walked to the bottom of the slope under the car to relieve myself. It seems that at that moment I fainted." "How did you faint?" "I don't know either. It didn't seem like someone hit me. I just suddenly fainted." "Knockout drug? It's possible. Didn't you say that you were knocked unconscious in the factory just now?" "I was in a hurry just now. They kept hitting me." I said that I was knocked unconscious because I didn't choose my words carefully. Xiao Xiao frowned and said, "Restore your path. Let's walk again together." Chong Li's eyes flashed. Okay. They returned to the location of the tent. Perhaps because of the needs of the filming, the tent had been put away. The cars that could be seen from afar could not be seen. Chong Li could only take them along the path last night to the original parking lot. From here I climbed a hill. At that time, the car was parked at the top of the hill. The car door was wide open. I also felt that it was very strange. I didn't know who came over to steal food like me, Chong Li said as he walked. Then I went down from here on the hill. They looked down and saw a call below. The slope was not very steep. After walking for more than 10 steps, they could reach a relatively flat place. I peed here. Xiao Xiao and Jiaming walked down. Jingli did not follow. A warm wind blew from afar, and she smelled the smell of urine. The smell was very pungent. Jingli directly covered her nose and turned her back to the wind. Xiao Xiao and Jiaming also smelled it. It seemed that Chong Li was not lying. He did pee here, but the smell of urine here was a little strong. It did not seem like Chong Li was the only one who had peed here. The smell was so strong. It had not been long, so there should be others. You fainted here? Jiaming asked. At the same time, he covered his nose and squatted on the ground to check carefully. This was a slightly larger stone that naturally formed a platform. It should be. It was here. I lost consciousness. Chong Li also covered his nose and answered. Then what I want to ask is, Xiao Xiao turned around and looked into Chong Li's eyes. Why don't you smell of urine? Chapter 292. Chong Li immediately panicked. He stammered. Why do I have the smell of urine on me? The smell here is so strong. You had just finished peeing. If you had fainted, it would be impossible for you not to have rubbed it on your body. Xiao Xiao continued to interrogate. How would I know? I just fainted. Maybe someone else caught me and didn't let me fall to the ground. Chong Li was confused. Chong Li, you can't hide anything from us. To be honest, we're helping you find the murderer. If we can't find the murderer, we'll definitely execute you in front of everyone. Then the game will completely fail. Chong Li immediately became nervous. But that's all I know. I did faint here. And then I don't know anything. As for why I didn't rub on the pee, who knows? Alright, we're done here. Chong Li, let's not dwell on this for now. Bring us to the place where you were found. Jiaming stopped Xiao Xiao. I still don't know where that place is, Chong Li cried. Were you carried back while unconscious? No, when I woke up, I found myself lying on a stone plot. The stones below were all extremely tough, and they poked my entire back until it hurt like hell. I remember the first time I opened my eyes. I saw a huge Joshua tree at the foot of the mountain opposite me. Before I could completely wake up, I was carried back by a group of people. Jingli asked curiously, Then can you still remember the way you were carried back? I can only give it a try. At that time, I was directly tied up by them, and then carried away. My eyes could only see the sky and the surrounding mountains. Chong Li smiled bitterly. Let's go. Let's find that stone plot first. Xiao Xiao walked forward. Then, after Chong Li had taken the wrong path countless times, and turned back countless times, they finally found the stone plot that he spoke of. Jiaming lay down at the place Chong Li pointed at. There was indeed a Joshua tree at the foot of a mountain far away. Xiao Xiao realized that they had already walked far away. They had gone around the factory, but the barbed wire fence seemed to be far behind them. Brother Ming, do you think this barbed wire fence was set up by the production crew, or was it already here? It's quite big. Jiaming stood up and took a look. I think it's the original one. In that era, this place had become a holy land for gold. There must have been a lot of people who wanted to rob and run away, so the surveillance and equipment designed by Director Wang should be restored on the original basis. But for such a big project like the barbed wire fence, I guess they used what was left behind before. I don't think so. It's been so many years. The barbed wire probably doesn't exist anymore. According to Director Wang's crazy character, I guess he's restoring it based on the past. If your guess is right, then that means, back then, In order to prevent gold miners from escaping with the gold, there was such a large barbed wire fence. It's a huge project. How is this a variety show? It's definitely a movie. Xiao Xiao looked at the cameramen following behind them. They were all expressionless. It seemed that the director had also given them a gag order, and nothing could be leaked. Sigh, Brother Qiao, Brother Ming. Why are you two studying the barbed wire fence? Aren't you still looking for the murderer? Jingli asked, panting behind them. She had already taken off the gold-digging clothes and covered her head, revealing the suspenders inside. The sun here is too big. Are you done looking? Can we go back? As they were talking, they saw Changla lying on the stone. That's not right. This doesn't seem to be the place where I opened my eyes in the morning. Jiaming squatted down and followed his line of sight. Isn't there a Joshua tree opposite? The tree is right. The scenery seems to be the scenery, but the stone under me doesn't feel right. When I woke up, I felt pain all over my lower body. I tried to support myself with my hand, but it was cut by a particularly sharp stone. But look around me now, there are only round stones. Where is the sharp stone? Xiao Xiao squatted down and looked around carefully. Sure enough, it was as Changlu had said. They were all round like cobblestones. There were no sharp stones at all like the people that Changlu had mentioned. Let me see the wound on your hand. Changlu raised his hand. At that time, he must have used his palm to press down hard. There was a cut in the middle of his hand. The blood had already dried, and there was a small red spot. Xiao Xiao and Jiaming looked at each other. Changla didn't lie to them. Then it's not this place. Then where is it? Try to recall again. We must find this place. Hence, Changla started searching around again. Jingli simply sat on a stone. The weather was so hot that the stone was boiling hot. There was not even a place to hide. Changla searched for a long time. Sai, look here. Xiao Xiao and the others quickly walked to Chang Li's side. He pointed at the corner of a standing stone beside him. There was a piece of cloth hanging on it. Xiao Xiao took off the cloth and looked at Chang Li's entire body. Finally, he found a gap beside his right calf. He picked up the cloth and compared it. The size was about the same. This stone is about half the height of a person. If you were carried away at that time, you might have rubbed against it when you turned the corner, and the cloth was scraped off. Jiaming analyzed. Could it be that this place is right? You were carried away here in the morning? How do you explain those stones? Why did they change from sharp stones to round stones? Changlu was dumbfounded. He didn't know why. When you woke up, was the overseer already dead? They said so. The overseer was also carried back. Things seemed to be even more complicated and confusing. Just as they were at a loss, the director's voice suddenly came from Qiao Zhao's earpiece. Hint: the murderer is among you, and the murderer will continue to commit crimes. If the murderer kills everyone else, the murderer wins. If the murderer is caught during the murder, the person who catches the murderer wins. Each of you will be given a special dagger. Only when you are stabbed by the dagger will you win. F***ck. After the four of them heard this, they looked at each other. They didn't expect this killing game to have an upgraded version. The four teammates had now become four competitors. No one knew who the killer was. After Yinran woke up, she looked out of the window. The entire natural stone landscape was like a painting that spread out in front of her eyes. It was colorful and colorful, winding like a dragon. In front of her right, a stone axe seemed to have fallen from the sky, cutting off an entire side of the stone mountain. At this time, it was already evening. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on the painting, making it look a little gray. How much longer? It should be more than an hour. When we get there, it will be completely dark. After we go in, where do we go? This place is very big. Little Six had been driving for the whole afternoon, and was a little tired. We should go to the scariest and most mysterious place. Are you talking about the stone pit? Then I don't think there's a road there. After the car stops at the end of the road, I think we can only walk in. It's okay. When we get there, wait for me in the car. It'll be faster if I go in alone. Little Six didn't hesitate. He knew that compared to Yinran, he was like heaven and earth. He just needed to listen to her orders. Then be careful. I heard that it's very strange inside. Yanran didn't say anything. Looking for two people in here would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. When they finally reached the end of the road, the sky was completely dark. At around 8 p.m., Little Six stopped the car under a Joshua tree. Sister Yanran, if Minister Tian was captured and brought here, do you think we should have seen at least one car? Whether it was parked here or returning to the city, we didn't see any. It's also possible that they took different roads. There are many forks here. Little Six nodded. Even though he had followed the road until it was dark, there were many other roads marked on the map. He watched as Yanran walked into the darkness. He looked at his phone. Thankfully, there was still a weak signal. Yanran walked for a while and was getting impatient. The ground was too hard to walk on. There were stones everywhere, and they hurt her feet. She simply flew up and arrived at a higher place, where she had a panoramic view of everything around her. In her field of vision, it was a basin. The area was so big that she couldn't see it with her eyes. There were stone mountains everywhere, and occasionally, there were a few Joshua trees standing in the middle. There was almost no vegetation here. The few spots of greenery were the most surprising existence here. The leaves were needle-like. Yanran realized that they were grown cacti. It made people think that they were at the edge of a desert. Looking into the distance, there was something different. The bright moonlight and starlight in the sky were extremely bright. They passed through the night sky without any fog and pollution. It was clear and bright. What surprised her was that other than the starlight that filled the sky, there were also bits of human light that were faintly emitted from the other side of the valley. This place was called Death Valley. Why would there be people here at night? Could it be Minister Tian and the others? Yanran flew down and went directly to the light. Yanran climbed up a higher stone and looked down. She was right. The light just now was the light, and it covered the entire Death Valley. Yanran released her spiritual sense and probed towards the light. Her spiritual sense was like countless hands that slowly extended forward. It passed through the barbed wire, passed through the construction of the factory, and climbed up the hill. The light was everywhere, but the people were all on the hill. Yanran probed out. There were at least 100 people here. Strange. Why were there so many people gathered here? According to their aura, they should be ordinary people. However, this shouldn't be something that Yanran should be concerned about. Minister Tian, who she was looking for, was definitely not among the crowd. In Death Valley, it was too easy to let a person fend for himself. Yanran retracted her spiritual sense and continued to fly along the outside of the barbed wire. She was looking for living creatures in this barren place. Chapter 293. Xiao Xiao and the others looked at the daggers in their hands and looked at each other. They should have heard the director's words. Everyone's eyes immediately revealed a suspicious expression. Xiao Xiao strangled Chong Li's neck. Was it you? Did you kill the overseer? Chong Li was shocked. How could it be me? I'm the victim. Didn't you see that I was beaten and kicked by them this morning? Tell me, why don't you smell of urine? I suspected that you weren't telling the truth just now. Jiaming also pointed the finger at Chong Li. Stop it. The murderer is definitely not me. It must be one of the three of you. Was I the only one who woke up last night? When I woke up, the car door was open. Someone must have been one step ahead of me. Chong Li had already shouted. Xiao Xiao immediately said, Last night, I was going to look for food, but when I woke up, I found that your tent had been opened and the car door had been opened. I must have woken up after you, but after I went back, you still didn't go back to the tent. Oh look. That means that someone didn't sleep last night like me. Why don't you suspect Xiao Xiao? I fainted at that time. Xiao Xiao, did you do it? Chong Li had already started to fight with each other. Brother Xiao is so handsome. How can he be the murderer? Jingli whispered. You moron. Do you think being handsome is enough to make a living? You're not his girlfriend. Why are you speaking up for him? I think he's the most suspicious. Chong Li had a bad temper and began to speak without thinking. Jingli stomped her feet angrily. You look like a bad person. Moreover, only you and the overseer were found together. Brother Xiao wasn't with you at all. How can he be the murderer? Xiao Xiao touched his nose. He hadn't jumped out to defend himself yet. But Jingli had already spoken up for him. At this moment, Jiaming also looked at Xiao Xiao suspiciously. Why didn't you say that you woke up too? Xiao Xiao was speechless. I thought this matter had nothing to do with me, so I didn't say anything. But I think Chang Lu is the most suspicious. Alright, let's stop arguing here. Just now, the director said that only if the murderer is caught red-handed the next time he commits a crime will we be recognized as the winner of the game. So everyone be careful. It's time for dinner. I think we should go eat first. Jiaming looked at the few of them deeply. Only Jingli was running the fastest. Her little sling was showing off in front of the few big men. She couldn't care less. The most important thing was to run back to hide from the sun. At this moment, Jiaming walked up and patted Xiao Xiao's shoulder. I don't think it's possible for Jingli. She can't even lift Chang Lu. So Xiao Xiao, it's you, right? Xiao Xiao smiled. Although I also got up, it really wasn't me. Jiaming looked at the man who was wearing a gold-plated suit and still had a charming smile. He smiled faintly. The corners of his mouth were slightly upturned. His hands were in his pockets, and it was difficult to hide his charm. Let's go eat first. We still have to work in the afternoon to earn dinner. Xiao Xiao waved behind him and strode towards the factory. Jiaming sighed. He knew that Director Wang would torture people, but he didn't expect him to play like this. He pinched his eyebrows and looked at the Joshua tree in the distance. Like a hero praying to the sky with his hands raised high, he put his hands together in front of his chest. He hoped that the murderer would be found soon. In the afternoon, their work was the same as yesterday's afternoon. They continued to be in charge of the boiler in the steamer-like factory. In the afternoon, they had changed a supervisor, but he was still as vicious as yesterday. Not only that, but he also focused on Chang Lu. Use more strength and increase the speed of coal release. Raise the shovel higher. The stick in his hand kept knocking on the ground. Chang Lu started to talk back, but he didn't expect to be scolded directly. A murderer is still so arrogant. If it weren't for the boss giving you a chance in the morning, you would have been in the police station by now. Work, don't talk. Chang Lu was worried that he would lose control of the supervisor and be taken to the police station. Then he would have to take his lunchbox in advance. He could only endure everything. But not long after, his arms began to tremble. He had been tormented all night and was beaten up in the morning. His physical strength was obviously a little exhausted. The high temperature in the boiler room roasted him. Chang Lu felt like a duck that was about to be roasted. Seeing the boiler in front of him float into two in front of his eyes, the shovel in his hand slipped and fell to the ground. He fainted directly. Jingli was next to him. She was so scared that she shouted, Chang Lu fainted. Then, the supervisor directed Xiao Xiao and Jiaming to carry Chang Lu out. Jingli wanted to go out to see the situation, but she was glared at by the supervisor. Don't you want to eat dinner tonight? She immediately returned to her boiler and continued to work. Chang Lu was taken away by the other extras. Jiaming quietly asked Xiao Xiao, did Chang Lu really faint or was he faking it? Xiao Xiao looked at Chang Lu, who had already walked far away. Whether he really fainted or faked it, he doesn't have the chance to kill us now. Jingli waved her little shovel and busied herself in front of the boiler. She had never done this kind of physical labor before. Although the shovel was much lighter, it had already rubbed blisters on her delicate little hands. She kept wiping away the sweat that flowed into her eyes. It was so piercing that she couldn't open her eyes. Because she was shoveling coal, the black soot had already been smeared on her face along with her little hands. Her originally beautiful face was completely covered by the soot. At this time, Jingli was the only one in the corner of the boiler in the factory. The supervisor walked around her with a stick. As long as she was slow, the stick would knock on the ground beside her. Jingli couldn't even be lazy. Jingli rolled her eyes and suddenly squatted on the ground. Ayo, my stomach hurts. I need to go to the toilet. The supervisor saw that she didn't seem to be faking it. 5 minutes. If it's over, I'll deduct your pay. Jingli was full of smiles and said yes to the supervisor. Then, she went out and asked the direction Chang Lu left in. She went straight there. Just as she thought, Chang Lu was carried by 2 people to a Joshua tree. He was given some water and medicine to relieve the heat. She walked forward and said to the two people sitting beside her, "I won't trouble you. I'll take care of him." The two of them looked at each other. They already had work on their hands. After a long time, they didn't know if they would have any food to eat at night. Of course, they were happy that someone was here to replace them. One of them even kindly reminded her, "Hurry up and go back to work when you wake up. Otherwise, you won't get paid at night." Jingli looked at the two people who had walked away, and then looked at Changlu, who was still unconscious. She took out the dagger from her waist and aimed it at Changli's chest, stabbing it down forcefully. At this moment Changlu, who had fainted, suddenly opened his eyes wide. He looked at an illusory figure in front of him, and a strong wind blew towards him. The alarm in his heart rang loudly, and he rolled to the side. Jingli's movements were even faster. When she saw that Changlu had actually woken up, she immediately put the dagger behind her back and smiled sweetly at Changlu. "Changlu, you're awake? Are you much better?" Changlu shook his dizzy head and looked at the double image in front of him. "So it's Jingli. I thought someone wanted to kill me. How can that be? You must not have slept well last night and been frightened. In addition, the factory is so hot that you have this illusion. I just came to see how you are. How can I kill you? If you're better, let's go back together. Otherwise, we won't be able to eat our fill tonight." Changlu looked at Jingli's peach blossom-like smile. Although his face was full of black coal, his eyes were bright and did not seem to be fake. "Let's go. I'm much better." Jingli helped Changlu up and went back to the factory together. Xiao Xiao and Jia Ming, who returned to the factory before them, saw that Jingli was not there. They felt strange and asked the supervisor. It turned out that Jingli had a stomachache and went to the toilet. The two continued to work, but just as they shoveled a shovel of coal, Xiao Xiao suddenly stopped, and so did Jia Ming. The two looked at each other. Not good. After that, they threw down the shovel and rushed out. As soon as they rushed to the door, they saw Changlu and Jingli walking in, talking and laughing. Changlu was still a little weak, but he seemed to be much better. Xiao Xiao and Jia Ming stopped at the same time and returned to their boiler without saying anything. The few of them finally earned enough work points before they got off work and got dinner. They really wolfed down the food. Xiao Xiao was originally a fast eater, but this time, it was gone in 2 or 3 mouthfuls. After eating, she remembered how Director Wang chewed and swallowed slowly yesterday. Jingli quietly ran to Director Wang's side. "Director Wang, is there a place to take a bath here? I haven't washed for 2 days and my body is going to stink." Think about it. Where would the workers of the gold rush take a bath? Jingli looked up and thought for a long time. They should just boil some water to wash. Director Wang glanced at her. "You're really naive. If you wanted to take a bath at that time, you had to wait for the rain. As long as it rained, everyone took off their clothes and took a bath in this gold rush place. In fact, it wasn't really a bath. They just rinsed their bodies. The work of panning gold in their hands would not stop. That was gold." Jingli opened her mouth wide. She could stuff an egg in her mouth. What about the people working in the factory? They were also waiting for the rain. It was more convenient for them, because the factory was too hot, especially next to the boiler. They were all naked. If it rained, they would rush out directly. After playing in the rain, they would continue to work and be dry in a while. Originally, I wanted to let you guys reenact this scene, but now the interrogation is strict. If you guys don't wear clothes, then it won't be broadcasted. Moreover, it won't rain these few days. This is really the biggest regret of this filming." Jingli really didn't know what to say after hearing this. She walked back silently. She hated the smell of sweat on her body. It really damaged her image. Xiao Xiao and the others had long expected this result. They all smiled bitterly and shook their heads. Changlu gnawed on the sandwich in his hand and glanced at Jingli from time to time. Although he was fooled by Jingli's smile just now, Changlu wondered why Jingli suddenly cared so much about him. Didn't Jingli quarrel with her because of Xiao Xiao before? Chapter 294. After dinner, several people received a notice from the director that for the filming tonight, they would sleep directly in the factory, and everyone was given a mat. Xiao Xiao looked at the mat that was as thin as a straw mat, and shook his head secretly. As the prince of the devil world, he really experienced life. Even sleeping next to a pile of coal happened. Jingli, who was spoiled since childhood, couldn't stand it even more. Not only could she not take a bath, but she also had to get together with a group of men to sleep. One could imagine how unspeakable the smell in the factory would be. Although the boiler had been extinguished, the residual heat of the day was still there, and it wandered aggressively throughout the room. How could people stand such a hot place? But Director Wang was just like them, sitting next to them with a camera, smiling and waiting for them to freely express themselves. The door of the factory was open, and a trace of cool air came in from the outside. It was much better at night than during the day. At first, several people couldn't sleep at all, and they were chatting about everything. Jingli slept directly at the door, and a cool breeze blew, making her feel better. Soon after, the heavy physical work during the day made several people tired and fell asleep. At this time, Jingli secretly got up and slipped outside alone. A few meters away from the factory, the toilet was around the corner. There was a faucet inside, which was Jingli's goal. When the faucet was turned on, the water flowed directly to the ground. If one was not careful, they would splash all over their feet. There was not even a sink below, and the conditions were so simple that it made one's hair stand on end. But at this time, Jingli could no longer care about this. For her, having water was the rarest thing in the world. She pulled the towel from her clothes that she used to wipe her sweat during the day, and wiped her whole body with the faucet. A burst of coolness passed through the skin to the bottom of her heart. It was so comfortable. The surface of her body dropped 5 degrees in an instant. Jingli carefully wiped the soot on her face, and a beautiful little face returned to its white color. She pursed her lips and put on her clothes again. A smell of sweat entered her nose. There was no way. She could only endure another day. Jingli returned to the factory and secretly woke Changlu up. "I found a place to take a bath. Come and help me." Changlu was shocked and immediately woke up. Jingli put her index finger to her mouth and shushed him. Then, she waved her hand and called Changlu out. After a while, Jingli came back. She called Jiaming again, and the two of them walked out of the factory in a crouching manner. When she entered the factory for the 3rd time, she was ready to call Xiao Xiao out, but after looking around, she found that he was nowhere to be found. Where did Xiao Xiao go? Yanran walked along the barbed wire fence, and soon came to a depression formed by piles of stones. The area of this depression was very large. The gravel that extended down from the mountain formed a stone depression that spanned 10 meters across, and continued to extend into the distance. Yanran uses her psychic sense to explore, but she can't see the end of the basin. She wants to extend her psychic sense to the end, but she can't feel the end of the basin. There was only one path here, and it seemed that they could only continue to walk along this stone depression. Yanran didn't think about it. As she walked, she released her psychic sense to feel the faint human aura. In the whole area, only this place seems to have human aura. Yanran flew directly on the stone, occasionally stopping to observe carefully. She flew for nearly half an hour, and thought that she should be very far away. Unexpectedly, when she looked back, she returned to the starting point of the depression, and that trace of human aura was still faint and far away from her. Yanran clenched the little star on her chest, but there was no movement at this time. If it's not a formation, then what is it? Xiao Xiao hadn't slept for long, when he suddenly felt a strange movement. The aura of the demon realm suddenly drilled into his nostrils, and mixed with the heat in the room. It was strange and hot. This breath seemed to be calling him. He looked at Director Wang, who was sleeping next to him. Only the camera in the room was running constantly. He used a devil aura to block the camera lens for a moment, and then he went out of the room. When he went out, he found that Jingli was no longer on the mat. When he went out, the devil aura became stronger, like a hand calling him to go in a certain direction. Xiao Xiao followed the aura forward, passing through several stone piles, crossing 2 soil slopes, and finally came to the place where the devil aura was the strongest. Xiao Xiao looked into the distance, and saw a tall Joshua tree in front of him. Xiao Xiao recognized that this was the place where he found Chang Lu in the morning. He looked around and found that the devil chi was coming from the pile of rocks. Xiao Xiao also released her own devil chi. Sure enough, after a while, the rocks seemed to be pushed away from the ground. The rocks that were originally on the surface of the ground spread to both sides. And then a humanoid monster rose from the ground. It was slightly bigger than Xiao Xiao, with a green face and fangs. Its long hair was disheveled, as if it had no nutrition, and was draped over its entire back. Its whole body was muscular, and only a piece of rag was wrapped around its waist. It faced Xiao Xiao and let out a devil roar, as if it was spitting fire from its mouth. Xiao Xiao released more devil aura and pressure, and the monster's roar was instantly restrained. The pressure brought by the blood made it involuntarily want to surrender. Xiao Xiao saw the monster kneeling directly in front of him, its whole head crawling on the ground, and its weed-like hair fell between the cracks of the stone. "Who are you? Why are you here?" Xiao Xiao asked in surprise. "I am a devil beast that wandered outside of the devil realm. After many years of cultivation, I turned into a human. May I ask who you are?" The monster asked humbly. "I am the prince of the devil realm." "So it is your highness that has arrived." This lowly one has eyes but did not recognize Mount Tai. "I hope your highness will forgive me. Let me ask you, 2 people were here in the middle of the night yesterday. What happened?" First, a man and a woman walked over. The woman took out a dagger and killed him. The other person was carried over by another group of people and placed on the side. Then why did the other person feel that the stone under him had edges? Hee, that is because I walk around below, and the stones on the surface are moved by me. Oh, so that's why. It seems that everything is clear now. The killer must be Jingli. The director's arrangement is really unexpected. What do you usually do here? Because I am here, people who come here are all eaten by me. So slowly no one comes here. This place is also called the Death Valley. The monster answered matter-of-factly. Xiao Xiao couldn't say anything. After all, there were many low-level monsters in the devil realm that ate people. Why didn't you eat that person yesterday? Generally speaking, I only eat real dead people. Although the person yesterday was killed, he didn't even bleed. He was just pretending to be dead, so I didn't eat him. Well, it seems that all of this was arranged by the director. Do you want to go back to the devil realm? Xiao Xiao still felt that the people of the devil realm living outside were a bit miserable. Can I? The monster suddenly became excited. Yes, it is better for the people of the devil realm to return to their homeland. Thank you, your highness. Thank you, your highness. After saying that, the monster kowtowed on the ground. Xiao Xiao directly made the monster sit cross-legged on the ground. He gathered the devil energy into his palm and took out the totem on his chest. The totem flew into the air, and a golden light enveloped the monster. Xiao Xiao silently chanted in his heart. He poured the devil energy into his palm, and then raised his palm into the air. Bursts of vigorous energy flowed towards the center of the formation. "Ah Xiao, stop." A clear girl's voice made Xiao Xiao immediately stop. He turned his head in surprise. Ran. The monster immediately shrank back. The girl's strength was even more terrifying. While the two of them weren't paying attention, the monster slid back into the stone. Xiao Xiao ignored the monster and directly went forward to hug Yanran. When he got close, he realized that he was stinking. He stepped back again. "Sorry, Yanran. I've been filming here for the past 2 days. My body is dirty. Did you come here specially to see me?" Xiao Zhao's eyes were full of light, illuminating everything in the darkness. Yanran went forward with a smile and took out a tissue to wipe his face. "How did you end up like this? You're not handsome anymore." Her voice was full of laughter. It was a pleasant surprise to see Xiao Xiao here. Ever since the two of them got back together, they were really sweet. Every time she thought of Xiao Xiao, Yinran's heart would soften. Xiao Xiao looked at Yinran's dirty eyes, but she didn't mind at all. His heart also softened. "Yinran, I have to go back and take a good bath. I've been here for the past 2 days. It's really too dirty. Don't wipe it. You'll get your hands dirty later. But don't worry, I'll definitely be as handsome as before." Xiao Xiao smiled and raised his right hand to swear. Why did you come here to film the show? Why didn't you tell me before? Yinran pulled Xiao Xiao and walked slowly along the stone pit. The monsters in the pit watched as the two gradually walked away. They did not dare to call out, and could only watch helplessly. There was some grievance in their eyes, as if they were abandoned little beasts. I originally wanted to give you a surprise. After the show, I would fly to your side. I didn't expect you to come to see me first. Xiao Xiao really wanted to hang on Yinran's body. At this time, he especially hated that his image was ruined by director Wang. Yinran pursed her lips and smiled. It's really fate. Then she stopped smiling and said in a serious tone, this time I went to M country to investigate new progress. I found Minister Tian, but it's very different from what we originally thought. Oh, what's the matter? Minister Tian is not the mastermind behind the scenes. The real bad guy is the current leader Zhou Jiutian. He and the Eastern aristocratic family did all kinds of bad things. They desperately tried to accumulate money and put the blame on Minister Tian. I just found Minister Tian the day before yesterday. Only then did I know that he was living a miserable life. At the same time, he was monitored with other people. He worked hard every day and lived an inhuman life. That scumbag. Yinran, I'll help you get rid of Zhou Jiutian. Xiao Xiao was finally relieved. His Yinran recognized the nature of the leader. His potential love rival was solved. He really wanted to laugh 3 times. Yinran's heart was full of righteousness, but Xiao Xiao only had Yinran in his heart. Chapter 295. I heard that department head Tian was brought here, so I followed him, Yinran explained to Xiao Xiao. So it wasn't for him. Xiao Xiao wondered how could there be such a coincidence. Where is department head Tian now? I'm looking for him, but this area is too big. That's why I told you to stop. I followed this monster's aura all the way here. I saw you setting up a formation, so I wanted to see if he could help. Xiao Xiao suddenly realized that he had hit the jackpot. Wait here, Yinran. I'll call him out. Xiao Xiao walked back to the rock and released a burst of demonic energy. He shouted, come out. The green-faced, fanged monster slowly pushed the rock away and crawled out. Its body was slippery and covered in mucus. It glanced at Xiao Xiao and Yinran and shrank back. It knelt down and kowtowed in fear. Your Highness, what can I do for you? Xiao Xiao looked at such a big monster, but it was still afraid. He couldn't help but feel strange. What are you afraid of? The monster pointed at Yinran. Her righteous aura makes me afraid. Xiao Xiao looked back at Yinran. She stood there like a flower on a high mountain. Her elegant and refined temperament didn't seem like a mortal's. He proudly said to the monster, this is the crown princess. Hurry up and bow. The monster was shocked. No wonder she was so close to the crown prince. He quickly knelt down and kowtowed. Greetings, crown princess. I'm a rock monster from the demon realm. You can give me orders. Yinran blushed slightly at the title of crown princess, but she calmed down immediately. She said to the monster, help me find a lone person around here. If he's in danger, help me save him and bring him here. The monster heard that. Understood. I'll go immediately. Then he drilled into the crack between the rocks. The rocks on the ground began to roll, and the shape and position of the rocks changed again. It turned out that the mystery that had been plaguing the scientific community was actually a monster from the devil realm. Yinran finally understood the mystery of the death stalks. Yinran, don't go. After you find him, wait for me for a day. My program will be finished tomorrow. I'll go back with you, okay? Xiao Xiao pulled Yinran to sit on a big rock. All right, when I get back, I'll have to investigate Zhou Jiutian's situation overseas. Also, Xiao, can you help me find out the exact flow of the overseas account? Of course. I originally wanted to investigate it within the borders, but due to the many restrictions and barriers within the borders, it's very inconvenient to investigate things. However, I believe it will be much more convenient outside the borders. Xiao Xiao readily agreed. I thought so too. Thank you for your hard work, Xiao. Yinran tapped Xiao Xiao's dirty nose with her finger. Xiao Xiao looked at Yinran dotingly. Aran, I'll do anything for you. I won't hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. I really don't want you to work so hard. There are some burdens that I can bear. Just leave them to me. Yanran looked at the boy whose eyes were full of light. His sincerity towards her made her heart feel touched. The two of them snuggled up next to the stone depression, whispering to each other. Xiao Xiao told Yanran about what had happened to him in the past 2 days. Yanran admired Director Wang to the point of prostrating herself on the ground. He's completely dedicated himself to the show, and you're his sacrificial lambs. Xiao Xiao smiled. That's not entirely true. I predict that this program will definitely be popular when it airs. Now that I know who the murderer is, I just need to find a way to catch him tomorrow. Yanran, it might not be easy to find someone in such a big place in such a short time. How about I take you to sleep for a while? I still have to go back to the recording site. Otherwise, it'll be hard to explain my disappearance. Yanran thought about it. She was tired after a hard day. It was already midnight. Xiao Xiao took Yanran directly to his tent. He knew that today's filming was in the factory. He pointed to his tent and let Yanran sleep in it. Xiao Xiao looked at his dirty appearance again. He originally wanted to get into the tent, but he abruptly stopped. He looked up to the sky and sighed. He pulled Yanran's tent and immediately returned to the factory. He lay down on his original mat and fell asleep. Not good, not good. Early in the morning, before the sky was bright, an extra rushed in from outside the door. Something happened, something happened. Everyone in the room was woken up. They all looked at the person with sleepy eyes. Looking at the dirty appearance of the extra, he anxiously pointed outside and said, "Someone died again. Everyone go and take a look." The word dead made everyone stand up from the cushions and scramble to squeeze out of the door. Xiao Xiao immediately looked around and found that the left and right sides were empty. He came back late last night, so he didn't care that the room was dark. He only remembered that when he went out, only Jingli was not there. He had a bad feeling in his heart and ran out with the crowd. Sure enough, he found 2 people lying on the ground in the open space at the door. There was a dagger in their bodies. It was Jiaming and Changli. Xiao Xiao turned back to look at Jingli. He didn't expect her to turn back to look at him. Before Xiao Xiao could say anything, Jingli had already pointed at him and shouted, "The murderer is here! The murderer is here!" Xiao Xiao killed them. Now there were only 2 of them left. The other party already knew who the murderer was, but Jingli made the first move. Everyone's eyes were like searchlights focused on Xiao Xiao. "Jingli, stop acting. You are the murderer," Xiao Xiao said calmly. "When I came back last night, the 3 of you weren't there. If you didn't kill them, who else could it be?" Jingli no longer looked like a love-struck fool. She pointed at Xiao Xiao fiercely. "When I went out yesterday, you were the only one who wasn't there. Stop pretending." Xiao Xiao didn't care at all. At this moment, 2 extras stood up and said, "Indeed, the 3 of them weren't there yesterday. Jingli was. I saw Xiao Xiao walk out of the house with my own eyes. After a long time, he was the only one who came back. Moreover, Jingli is a weak woman. How could she kill these 2 men?" Xiao Xiao took a look. F***ck, there were witnesses. Xiao Xiao really couldn't defend himself. He couldn't drag Yanran over to testify, right? The matter reached a stalemate. 2 people came up and tied Xiao Xiao to the pillar at the door. Xiao Xiao was speechless. It seemed like this was arranged by the director. He could only cooperate and express his grievance of being wronged to the extreme. Xiao Xiao shouted, "You've wronged me. Jingli is the murderer." However, he didn't expect that no one would pay attention to him. Everyone else went to work, leaving Xiao Xiao alone to be tied to the pillar, receiving the heat of the sun. The sun was getting bigger and bigger. Xiao Xiao felt that the water in his body was almost drained. When he woke up in the morning, he didn't even have a sip of water. Jiaming and Changli's bodies on the ground had already been moved away. He was the only one in the entire open space, basking in the sun miserably. Xiao Xiao knew that it wasn't easy for him to win this game. Only when Jingli made a move on him, he had to catch her in front of everyone. If there was no witness, killing Jingli secretly wouldn't count. The rules of this game made him so aggrieved that he could only bask in the sun on the pillar. Xiao Xiao finally began to envy Jiaming and Changli, who received their lunch boxes in advance. They could finally drink water and eat normally. Even if it was more aggrieved in the show, at least they didn't have to suffer. At this moment, Jingli was still shoveling coal in the factory. She took a small shovel and put it into the boiler bit by bit. Her mind was spinning quickly. How could she get rid of Xiao Xiao on the pillar? The rules of the game were that she could secretly kill others, but others had to catch her openly. Therefore, she had to take advantage of the fact that no one was around to stab him. The knife designed by the director was also very strange. When she stabbed Jiaming and Changlu with the knife, the blade directly retracted, and the glue on the handle popped out. It directly stuck the dagger to his clothes. However, when the dagger stabbed into Chang Li's back last night, Changlu felt it. He turned around in surprise and looked at her in fear. Then he threw a heavy punch at her. If Jingli hadn't let go of the dagger and fell back, her face would have been split open. She was so frightened that she sat on the ground and covered her face. When Changlu realized that the dagger on his body was fake, he finally understood that he had lost this game. "I didn't expect you to be an assassin, Jingli." This was the last sentence he could say in the show. As for brother Jiaming, after he accidentally fell for the trap, Jingli used the same method to stab him in the back. His reaction was still relatively calm. He just fell forward and died. It seemed like brother Ming was already aware of this. Everything went smoothly last night. Jingli touched the dagger on her body, and then looked at the shovel in her hand. She really couldn't shovel anymore. It was better to end the game as soon as possible. She directly told the supervisor that she needed to go to the washroom, and then went out. In the open space in front of the factory, only Xiao Xiao was tied to a pillar. On the right side of the factory, a few people were moving back and forth, and a little further away, a group of people were panning for gold. She first walked to the side and stole a bottle of mineral water. Then, with a face full of smiles, she walked in front of Xiao Xiao. "Brother Xiao, you didn't drink water this morning, right? Look at how hot the sun is. Let me feed you some water." Jingli didn't wait for Xiao Xiao's reply. She directly opened the bottle cap and was about to feed Xiao Xiao water. When Jingli walked over, Xiao Xiao was already vigilant. "Why? Do you want to kill me? Look at the people around. You can't do it." "Of course. Brother Xiao, I won't kill you. I'm just here to give you some water." Xiao Xiao looked at her suspiciously and saw that she was seriously giving him the water. He did not stand on ceremony. His body had long been as dry as a desert, and even a little bit of sweet dew made him shed tears of gratitude. Jingli raised her arm, tried her best to tiptoe, and stuffed the mouth of the bottle into Xiao Xiao's mouth. Xiao Xiao raised his head and began to gulp down the water. At this moment, Jingli's other hand had secretly taken out a dagger. She used her clothes and body to cover it. Chapter 296. The mineral water flowed down Xiao Xiao's lips. Xiao Xiao's Adam's apple moved up and down. Jingli was a little stunned. Even drinking water was so sexy that she really couldn't do it. But this was not the time for her to be infatuated. She saw that Xiao Xiao was drinking happily, and his mouth was completely blocked by the mineral water. She expected that he should not be able to make a sound now. With a fierce force, the dagger was aimed at the back of Xiao Xiao's waist. In fact, Xiao Xiao had been vigilant for a long time. He leaned his waist slightly to the side and avoided the dagger. Then the guard seal was automatically activated. Ah! A blood-curdling scream came out from Jingli's mouth. She originally thought that her sneak attack was already in the bag, but she didn't expect that an external force would directly overturn her. Everyone was attracted by this scream, and saw that Jingli was still holding a dagger in her hand. Xiao Xiao immediately shouted, "He's the murderer. He's trying to kill me." Director Wang clapped from a distance. He personally untied the rope for Xiao Xiao. "I didn't expect that, handsome. In the end, it was you who won the game. I thought that Jingli had already won." Xiao Xiao finally breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. If he didn't have the guard seal just now, he would have fallen into Jingli's trap. "Director, your design is really too deceptive. We've been tormented to death these 2 days." Jiaming and Chang Lu also came over with the director. Jiaming patted Xiao Xiao's shoulder. "I didn't expect that it really wasn't you. I guessed wrong. I'm sorry, brother." Jingli also got up from the ground and rubbed her arm. Brother Qiao, you used too much strength just now. I almost couldn't get up. Changli gave Jingli a thumbs up. I didn't expect that, Jingli. You acted so well. I didn't guess it at all. If it weren't for Qiao Zhao's big reversal, the final winner of this game would have been you. The director was overjoyed and wrapped up. All the cast members let out a long sigh of relief. The recording of this program almost made everyone lose a layer of skin. However, when they saw such a realistic performance, they had a different opinion of director Wang in their hearts. People who pursue perfection can really come up with the best work. The whole shooting was finally over. Xiao Xiao and the others took a good shower and changed back into their own clothes, restoring their handsome looks. Only then did Jingli return to her original nature. She put on a charming and cute look. Don't hate me. It's all the director's arrangement. At that time, when the director secretly told me, I was shocked. I have never killed anyone. Changlo, please don't hate me. When I stabbed you with the dagger, my hand was shaking. Jiaming walked up and teased Jingli. When you were trying to kill me, I saw that your hand was already very steady. Jingli stuck out her tongue. Brother Ming, you went easy on me at that time, right? Otherwise, I don't think I could have succeeded so easily. No, I'm too tired. Brother Ming is old. I can't compete with you young people. In the end, Jingli walked up to Qiao Xiao. I'm sorry, Brother Qiao. You are my idol. I actually stabbed my idol. I don't think I can forgive myself. At this time, Qiao Xiao felt that Jingli was cute. He said seriously, as a fan you are very competent. As a killer, you are also very professional. In the end, Jingli broke down in a second. Brother Qiao, don't laugh at me. The few of them bickered with each other and finally ended this very difficult program. After suffering together, their relationship became even better. Xiao Xiao directly waved to Director Wang and the others and said that he still wanted to continue to feel the mystery of Death Valley. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Yanran saw that Xiao Xiao had recovered. She smiled and asked, Did you win? Xiao Xiao hugged Yanran and kissed her on the cheek. Of course. Don't you know who your brother Qiao is? In the sky above Death Valley, the sun had already reached the top of their heads. It was like a fireball, burning fiercely, constantly pouring excessive light and heat on Xiao Xiao and Yanran. The whole valley seemed to be burning. The earth became hot, and all the scenery seemed to be added a layer of white filter. Under the reflection of the bare stones, it was particularly dazzling. The heat from the steaming soles of their shoes made the two people walking in the valley extremely uncomfortable. Now Xiao Xiao knew that Director Wang had chosen a relatively ventilated place. Compared with where they were now, it was at least 10 degrees lower. Xiao Xiao took out a shirt from his bag and put it on Yinran's head. He hugged Yinran's whole body in his arms, trying not to let the sun shine on her body. Xiao, it seems that these 2 days have been really hard on you. I didn't expect it to be so hot here. Yinran turned to look at Xiao Xiao from inside the collar. The eyes of the person next to her were full of love. As long as she said a good word, it would make him happy for a long time. Aran, I know you care about me the most. Xiao, you love me so much. What will you do in the future? You can't be like this. There is someone else in your life besides me. I will worry about you. If something happens to me, I'm afraid you won't be able to bear it. Xiao Xiao hugged her tightly. Yinran, I won't allow you to say that. You will be fine. I will protect you well. Yinran sighed. It seemed that she still needed to divert Xiao Zhao's attention. He couldn't put all his thoughts on her. She had seen on the internet before how to divert a lover's attention. It seemed that the first way to divert a lover's attention was to have a child. Yinran's face turned red. She glanced at Xiao Zhao's body and hugged Xiao Zhao's tight waist. There was not a trace of fat, and it felt very good. Yinran gently stroked it twice. Xiao Xiao immediately looked at her with a deep gaze. Aran, did you miss me? The two of them just happened to walk into a space with a stone depression. Xiao Xiao pulled Yinran into it. The protruding stone above blocked part of the sunlight. Xiao Xiao pulled back the clothes on top of his head and said mischievously, Aran, as long as you need me, I'm always here. After that the affectionate kiss gently fell. Yinran was tempted by Xiao Zhao's eyes. The hand that was originally hugging Xiao Zhao's thin waist slowly moved up and rubbed Xiao Zhao's back. Then it gradually moved up and hooked Xiao Zhao's neck, pulling him in front of her. Xiao Zhao's lips always had a kind of magical power, making Yinran intoxicated, unable to stop. At this time, her reason was always replaced by impulse, and sobriety was always replaced by intoxication. The two kissed deeper and deeper, so deep that they couldn't breathe, so thick that they were confused. Xiao Zhao's hand had already involuntarily drilled into his clothes. His smooth skin was covered with fine beads of sweat. Xiao Zhao spontaneously understood that this was a symbol of Yinran's feelings for him. He became more and more excited and his lips deepened. Yinran's waist had already clearly bent back into an arc. Xiao Zhao protected her bent waist with one hand and supported Yinran's neck with the other hand. He leaned against the wall behind them, vowing to press Yinran's entire body into his body. Woo! Yinran suddenly cried out, and her body suddenly shrank back. At this time, Xiao Zhao discovered that Yinran had accidentally pressed against the wall. He quickly let go of her small mouth. What's wrong, Yinran? Yinran's back was soft and she said, "This wall is so hot." Xiao Zhao reached out and touched the wall behind them. Wow, the temperature was as high as 50 or 60 degrees. I'm sorry, Yinran. I didn't pay attention just now. Quick, let me see if I'm scalded. Xiao Zhao pulled Yinran's shoulder away and saw an entire red skin that was abnormally red. It was obviously darker than the snow-white skin next to it. This made Xiao Zhao's heart ache. He quickly took out a bottle of mineral water. Yinran, this place is hot. You must quickly wash it with water. Come, lie on your side on my lap. Xiao Zhao sat down on a stone next to him. Wow, the heat on the stone directly transmitted to his buttocks. He quickly put his bag under it and let Yinran lie on her side on his lap. He untied Yinran's clothes on one side of her shoulder and poured mineral water on her. What a picture of a beauty's shoulder. Yinran's shoulder was soft and boneless. Her white and red skin was drenched by water. The water droplets flowed down her skin in all directions and hid in a place where they could not be seen. Xiao Zhao's throat moved up and down, and his eyes became deeper. He lovingly rubbed Yinran's shoulder, helping her relieve the discomfort caused by the burning heat. Yinran turned her head and looked at such a gentle Xiao Zhao. Her eyes were full of happiness. She took the initiative to pull down Xiao Zhao's head, took a sip of water on her sexy thin lips, and said coquettishly, Xiao, don't worry. I'm not a porcelain doll. Ran, you will always be the most precious porcelain in my eyes. As white as jade and as bright as a mirror. Yinran's eyes moved and she smiled. Her eyes were like hooks that circled Xiao Zhao's body. She pointed her finger at his thin lips and said, You only know how to flirt. Ran, I only flirt with you. Only you can see this side of me. Everything I have belongs to you. The two of them whispered sweet nothings to each other. The sun blushed and the heat emitted was more than enough. The whole mountain seemed to be burning. In the big steamer of the whole mountain, Xiao Zhao and Yinran seemed to have a fire in their hearts. It rose from the bottom to the top and spread through the 7 meridians of the body. There was an invisible rope of desire that wanted to pull the two of them closer. Ran, I want to go back to the hotel. Xiao Zhao whispered in Yinran's ear. Yinran hugged him back and said, Be good. Let's go back after we're done. The two of them finally walked to the stone depression from yesterday. They found that the shape of the stones today was different from yesterday. Xiao Zhao used his devil energy to summon the monster under the depression. After a while, the monster crawled out of the crack of the stone. Your Highness, Crown Princess. How is it? Did you find him? Xiao Zhao asked. I found him. He was on the top of the mountain opposite and almost fell. I pulled him in time, but he fainted. He must have fainted from hunger. I brought him back and hid him under the tree over there. Yinran looked back. There was indeed a middle-aged man's figure under the tree. It was Minister Tian. Chapter 297. Yinran quickly went forward and checked department head Tian's breathing. When she found that he was still breathing, she felt relieved and nodded at Xiao Zhao. You have made a great contribution. When you return to the demon realm, You can ask my father for a reward. This is my token, keep it well. Xiao Xiao pulled out a strand of hair and handed it to the monster. This strand of hair has my demon chi. Show it to my father, and he will immediately know that this is mine. Please tell him that I am doing well in the human world, and that I am about to get married. I hope that he can give me his blessings in the demon realm. The green-faced monster tied the strand of hair to one of its own and kowtowed to Xiao Xiao, and Yin ran a few more times in gratitude. Xiao Xiao did not delay any longer. He took out the totem and released a golden light that enveloped the monster. After chanting a spell, a golden light shot up into the sky, and the monster disappeared in the blink of an eye. Ah Xiao, I didn't expect you to have subdued the monsters here. You have also made Death Valley a safe place in the future. This place can no longer be called Death Valley. Maybe because you are filming a variety show here, it will become an extremely foggy tourist spot. Yinran said with emotion. I hope so. I didn't expect that there would be people from the demon realm, like me in the human world. Yinran walked over and pinched his face. She pouted and said playfully, It's just that you are much more handsome than him. Xiao Xiao was happy. He carried department head Tian on his back and flew through the valley with Yinran. Soon, they arrived at the place where Little Six parked the car. Little Six was hiding in the car to enjoy the air conditioner. When he saw Yinran and the others, he was overjoyed. Not only did he find them, but he also brought back Xiao Xiao. Little Six joked, Brother Qiao, I didn't expect you to be here too. I was wondering if Sister Yinran went to find department head Tian or you. Xiao Xiao looked proud and looked at Yinran with a doting expression. This is the fate between me and Yinran. Xiao Lu choked and accidentally ate a mouthful of dog food. Their mood on the way back was very different from when they came. Department head Tian was placed in the trunk of the car. Xiao Xiao pulled Yinran to sit in the back seat. He said, Yinran can lie down for a while if she's sleepy later. Little Six was prepared to be fed with dog food, all the way back to a city. After returning to the city, Yinran asked Little Six to send Minister Tian to the hospital immediately. After he recovered, she would take him back to Huaxia directly. She and Xiao Xiao had to do further investigation in City A. Minister Zhou, Tianqing has already been thrown into Death Valley. I knocked him out. The temperature there is very high. He shouldn't be able to live for more than 2 days. Did you see him breathe his last with your own eyes? An emotionless voice came from the phone. The pressure was heavy, and it was the coldness of a person who had been in power for a long time. The person on the other end of the phone was already sweating. I left him on a mountaintop. It was too hot there, so I came back first. Trash, is this how you do things? Zhou Jiutian's voice suddenly rose an octave. Yes. I'll go back and check right away. The hand of the person who answered the phone trembled, and the phone almost fell to the ground. After Zhou Jiutian hung up the phone, he had a bad feeling in his heart. Even if department head Tian didn't say anything, Yinran was so smart. She must be able to connect to something. He immediately applied to go abroad for investigation. He wanted to go back to the city where he used to stay and kill everything in the cradle. After such a thing happened, the strategy that he had made to deal with Yinran was completely useless. After such a long time, he still couldn't get into Yinran's heart. This really made him feel frustrated. Now that the matter was exposed, the only thing he could do was to save his own life first. He didn't want to think about anything else. He sent a string of codes to a secret phone. Before he went to Country M, he hoped that they could help him solve the problem in advance. After Xiao Xiao and Yinran returned to the hotel, they immediately set up a full set of equipment. Xiao Xiao was in charge of the implementation, and Yinran was on the side looking for clues. The two of them further tracked the flow of funds through the internet. At the same time, they also tracked Zhou Jiutian's information abroad. This tracking took 5 days and 5 nights. Yinran, don't waste time with me. Go and sleep for a while. The dark circles under your eyes are almost as big as a panda's. Xiao Xiao used the devil chi to remove the dark circles on Yinran's face. However, he knew that this was only a superficial improvement. The real fatigue had already seeped into Yinran's eyes. I'm afraid that we won't have enough time. Department head Tian's matter has already alerted them. I'm worried that before we have the results of the investigation, Zhou Jiutian will take action. Zhou Jiutian will take action soon. I don't think we can hide our whereabouts. Department head Tian has already woken up, but Little Six said that he can't return to the country. He doesn't have any documents at all. So we're in a race against time. The only thing we can do is to gather evidence as soon as possible and ask the government to come forward and extradite Department head Tian. But Yanran, isn't Department head Zhou your only direct superior? How are you going to get the country's top officials to pay attention to you? This is also the problem that I've been struggling with. If my direct superior was a good person, then all our reporting channels would be smooth. However, I didn't expect him to be the biggest pest. In that case, we have to find a way to get past him. So we have to gather more evidence. All the chain of evidence needs to be complete. We also need to have a specific amount of money for the country's losses. Otherwise, people will think that you're just writing a story. No one will believe you, and they'll say that you're making false accusations. Then we have to find the key person. This is just like filing a petition in ancient times. We have to find an honest and upright person who is willing to believe us. At the same time, he has to be able to reach the heavenly court. Yanran and Xiao Xiao spoke tirelessly and analyzed in a serious manner. This Bao Qingtian is not easy to find. Xiao Xiao also knew Yanran's difficulties. So do you think I dare to rest? But Yanran, rest is for the sake of fighting better. If your body collapses, who will file a petition to the heavenly court? Xiao Xiao's goal was to let Yanran sleep. I'm fine, Xiao. Let me look at it for a while. Xiao Xiao looked at the running program. He could only wait now. The program had been written, and all that was left was to wait for the final result. The security measures in America were indeed very strong. In some places, there were hundreds of thousands of ways to crack the code. However, he had to crack not just one, but hundreds or thousands of ways. He had to try and make mistakes one by one. He looked at Yanran, who was seriously reading the information beside him. Her increasingly thin shoulders were straight, just like her own pride. She persisted in her own beliefs, wholeheartedly devoted herself to her career, and worked hard for the sake of humanity. Xiao Xiao sighed. It seemed that he could only rely on his shamelessness to make her rest. Xiao Xiao walked directly behind Yanran and reached out to cover Yanran's eyes. Then he whispered in her ear. Ran, can you feel sorry for me? I'm so sleepy. Yanran pulled down the hand in front of her eyes and kissed his palm. Good boy. Go to sleep for a while. No, I can't sleep alone. I want you to accompany me. Xiao Xiao said coquettishly. Yanran sighed and rubbed Xiao Xiao's head. Xiao, I still want to look at it for a while. Go to sleep by yourself, okay? Xiao Xiao rolled his eyes and directly put his hand under Yanran's armpit. His fingers moved randomly, causing Yanran to immediately laugh. Xiao, don't make trouble. Then lie down with me for a while. When I fall asleep, you can get up. If you don't agree, I won't stop. Xiao Xiao directly acted shamelessly. Yanran also laughed until tears flowed down her face. She had to compromise. Okay. I'll lie down with you for a while. Just a while. Seeing that his plan had succeeded, Xiao Xiao snickered twice. He carried Yanran directly to the big bed and began to help Yanran take off her clothes. Yanran immediately stopped him. I still have to get up later. I won't take it off. But Xiao Xiao was not willing to stop. You're wearing so much. How can I sleep? I have to hug you. Just like that, Yanran was removed by Xiao Xiao and wrapped into the quilt. Xiao Xiao directly wrapped his limbs around Yanran. His goal was to let Yanran sleep, so he naturally would not do anything. Soon he let out a steady breath. Yanran originally wanted to secretly get up, but seeing that Xiao Xiao was hugging her so tightly that she could not move, she could only close her eyes. Sleepiness hit her, and she quickly fell asleep. After a while, Xiao Xiao half narrowed his eyes and stole a glance at Yanran. Seeing that she had already fallen asleep, the corners of Xiao Xiao's mouth curled up, and he fell asleep in satisfaction. Just like that, the two of them stayed in the hotel for a full 10 days, organizing the newly obtained evidence day and night. Yanran's eternal heaven diagram had now been changed to a tree branch with Zhou Jiutian as the head. Xiao Xiao looked at the results of Yinran's work in admiration. He really did not know how her brain was developed. He had the world's #1 spiritual skill, which was equivalent to having a cheat system. But Yinran completely relied on her small brain to piece together such a large spiderweb-like diagram. Originally, the information that Xiao Xiao gave Yinran was scattered. He did not know how she was able to string together a person, a line, or a matter to form a main line in the midst of all the complexity. Xiao Xiao gave Yinran a thumbs up, hugged her, and kissed her a few times. "Ran, you were born to be a queen." The two of them found a few key locations. Yinran said that she wanted to go to the site to investigate if her analysis and guess were correct. The first stop was that casino. The final flow of all the funds was concentrated in an underground casino in the city center of a city. Yinran checked the location, and it was in a hotel in the northeast corner of a city. After the two of them disguised themselves as tourists, they put on makeup on their faces and changed their appearance a little. They walked out of the hotel that they had stayed in for 10 days and prepared to explore at night. Xiao Xiao wore a Hawaiian-style shirt, like a coconut tree swaying in front of Yinran. His originally radiant face was even more vibrant and lively under the colorful contrast. Yinran directly put a layer of black powder on his face. "Xiao, you're too dazzling. I'm worried that we'll be targeted as soon as we enter." Chapter 298. Yinran's worries were not unfounded. As soon as the two of them left the hotel, they were followed. That person was the person in charge of dealing with Department Head Tian. When Department Head Tian's body was not found in Death Valley, he knew that something had happened. According to other people's descriptions, he followed the clues and drew a portrait of Yinran. Through a series of technical methods, he found the last place where Yinran was seen, and then waited there. Just when he felt hopeless, he finally saw Yinran walk out of the hotel. Beside her was a Hawaiian coconut tree. It was quite good-looking, but it was a bit dark. It looked like a mixed-race person of Asian and American descent. "Don't look back. It seems like someone is following us." As soon as they left the hotel, Yinran felt the tail behind them. Xiao Xiao pretended as if nothing had happened and got into a taxi with Yinran. He glanced in the rearview mirror and sure enough, another car was slowly following them. "Should we get rid of him?" "No, it's just a clue. Let him follow us and catch him when we come back." Xiao Xiao immediately leaned back in the back seat, crossed his legs, and lazily looked at the scenery outside. The car quickly took them through the bustling streets. After driving for about half an hour, they arrived outside a magnificent hotel. At the entrance of the hotel, there was a sculpture plaza and a musical fountain. A pair of artists performing bronze figures stood in the middle. Their every movement seemed to lack lubrication. There was also a bronze figure that tilted its body to an exaggerated angle and remained motionless. At this time, fountains of various sizes were dancing up and down with the rhythm of the music. Colorful lights shone on the fountains, creating a strange and bizarre world. The car drove directly into the entrance of the hall. The doorman directly went to the door to help open the door and handed Yinran a rose. "The service is not bad." Xiao Xiao gave the doorman a thumbs up and took out a full bill and handed it to him. The doorman happily thanked him. The glass walls of the hotel seemed to be plated with a layer of gold, reflecting the distant neon lights under the night light. The dancing notes accompanied the musical fountain at the door, playing a pleasant tune. Entering the hall, it was as if he had entered a spacious theater. The design of the nearly 5-story building created a domed feeling, luxurious and grand. Coupled with the exquisite murals, it was as if he had walked into an ancient Egyptian palace. Xiao Xiao expressed his intention, and the staff immediately led the two of them to the entrance of the casino. They originally thought that it would be an open door, but when you got closer, you realized that the entire passage had unknowingly placed you in the casino atmosphere. There were many burly men in black suits and white earphones around them. There were people of all races, and there was also a row of tall and flirtatious foreign women serving as hostesses. Xiao Zhao's eyes wandered, and his intuition felt uncomfortable. Transparent clothes of various colors swayed in front of his eyes, especially the male guests who came alone, surrounded by one or two beautiful women. Xiao Xiao looked at Yinran next to him. Although her clothes were very complete, he could see at a glance that Yinran was pure and innocent, and those women were all inferior. After walking a little further, a lion's roar startled the two of them. A beautiful woman immediately came forward and introduced, "This is our casino's daily African lion show. You two came at the right time. The show has just begun." Xiao Xiao looked forward and saw 3 African lions in a huge cage performing various kinds of performances. 2 of the 3 lions were male. Looking at their huge manes up close, they looked like hard thorns sticking out of their heads. The visual impact was very strong. The roar of this kind of big, long-haired feline would bring horror to the people around it and make everyone's hormones rise in an instant. The receptionist said, "This is the power of males." After that, her eyes were like hooks, circling Xiao Xiao up and down, and the smile in her eyes was full of seduction. Yinran pulled Xiao Xiao to her side and blocked him with her body. Xiao Xiao smiled in his heart. His Yinran still loves him very much. Further inside, there was a hubbub of voices and strange lights. Yinran said to Xiao Xiao, "The casino is really a harmful place. Many people come with the dream of making a fortune, and then leave with all their money. Many people can't resist the temptation of gambling, and invest all their money in it, and finally, their families are ruined." Xiao Xiao licked his lips and said, "Aran, but this atmosphere is really exciting. Let's give it a try." Xiao Xiao rubbed his fists at the side, eager to give it a try. Originally, the two of them had come to look for clues, so Yinran naturally nodded and agreed. Xiao Xiao looked at the roulette closest to him. Under the guidance of the receptionist, Xiao Xiao won nearly 1,000 yuan, with 200 yuan. The receptionist was excited and kept shouting "Lucky guy." Although watching Xiao Xiao play happily, Yinran did not participate, but carefully observed the operation inside. The venue here was very large, and it was not an exaggeration to say that it was 2 football fields. There were thousands of staff inside, and there were hundreds of bodyguards. Yinran estimated that if she wanted to run this casino, the funds transferred from the country were far from enough. Although it was said that after having the initial funds, money could be used to make money, because of the exchange rate, the money itself was discounted. Yinran walked to the front of a circle of slot machines. There was a brand new BMW X6 parked directly at the top. "Obviously, if you win, this car will be yours." Xiao Xiao played for a while, and when he turned back and did not see Yinran, he immediately threw down the chips in his hand. The receptionist behind him shouted, but could not stop him. Yinran looked at Xiao Xiao, who was walking towards her, and said to him, "I think it should not be just the money transferred from the country. They must have partners abroad. This kind of casino should have a strong background. This Zhou Jiutian must have colluded with someone abroad." Xiao Xiao did not expect that Yinran had already come to this conclusion after just a short while. "Then what should we do now? We have to find a way to get the account of this casino, and see if he laundered money here, or directly invested in this casino." The goal was clear. Xiao Xiao's eyes searched the entire hall like an eagle, evaluating which entrance could be used to enter the backstage. "Ah Xiao, let's act separately. You find a way to get the account. I'll look around and look for other clues." After Yinran finished giving orders, she walked directly to a table and sat down. She began to gamble. Immediately, he was surrounded by 2 handsome men who were welcoming guests. Xiao Xiao touched his nose. He really wanted to pull the 2 handsome men aside. He looked at Yinran sitting calmly at the table, and he had to find his destination. With such a large area, how could he find it? But he did not need to worry. As soon as he was alone, 2 beautiful women immediately surrounded him. "Hey, handsome, what do you want to play? I'll accompany you." A slender hand was already on Xiao Xiao's shoulder. Xiao Xiao turned to look at the 2 beauties, and their eyes immediately showed a stunned expression. "Handsome, you're really handsome. You can play anything you want." The other hand was already touching Xiao Xiao's chest. Xiao Xiao moved sideways to block the woman's hand. He grinned, revealing 8 neat white teeth. "Are you saying there's a guest room here?" "Of course, handsome, we have everything here. As long as you want, we can definitely do it." After saying that, she threw Xiao Xiao a coquettish glance. She took a step forward, deliberately revealing her thighs from the high slit of her skirt. Xiao Xiao pretended to be very interested. It's my first time here. I'm not familiar with this place. Why don't the two beauties introduce me first? The two beauties were extremely happy. They immediately wanted to go forward and hold Xiao Xiao's arm. Xiao Xiao took out 2 bills from his pocket and stuffed them into their hands. I'm shy. You can lead the way. The 2 blonde beauties pursed their lips and smiled. They put the money directly in front of their chests. Their snake-like waists swayed left and right as they led the way. At Xiao Xiao's request, the 2 beauties began to introduce the various facilities of the casino. Xiao Xiao was interested in where the back end was, and where he could find a computer that would give him a chance to hack into it. In fact, he aimed at the cashier. The computer in the cashier must be real-time settlement. As long as he went through the gateway, he could access his back end. But the cashier was their top priority. There were cameras, surveillance facilities, security guards, and all kinds of surveillance equipment that he could not see at all. The cashier was as bright as day, and there were constantly people coming to change their chips. There was no chance to hide at all. Xiao Xiao even thought about whether he should sneak in and work as a cashier for a few days. At this time, the 2 beauties blinked their eyes and asked Xiao Xiao seductively, "Sir, would you like to visit the guest room?" Xiao Xiao's eyes turned. He had already seen the upper and lower floors of the casino. When he passed by the basement floor, he found that Yinran had already moved here. He didn't know what Yinran was doing. He just wanted to finish his task quickly, so that he could meet up with Yinran. I want a guest room with the best scenery. Do you know where it is? I know. One of the receptionist's eyes lit up. Our boss's office area has the best scenery. There is a presidential suite on their floor. Sir, would you like to go there? What the receptionist wanted to ask was, can you afford to pay the fees there? Xiao Xiao got his answer and smiled wickedly. You 2 beauties are so tempting. How can I not be moved by you? Let's go there. When the 2 beauties heard Xiao Xiao's answer, they smiled. This time, they held his arm again. Xiao Xiao didn't refuse. Instead, he pinched their plump buttocks. I'll see how you perform tonight. This action made the 2 women even more excited. With an enchanting twist of their buttocks, their entire bodies were pressed against Xiao Xiao. The texture of their plump buttocks rubbed against Xiao Xiao's upper arm through their clothes. It had already begun to warm up in advance. Chapter 299. Xiao Xiao was held by 2 beautiful women on both sides, talking and laughing as they walked into the elevator. Along the way, he was still trying to get information out of them. He got a lot of information from the 2 beautiful women. He asked quite naturally. He was very curious about the style of the boss here, and how he could run the casino so successfully. However, he didn't expect these 2 beauties to know so clearly. But for some big things, they could definitely boast about it logically. Sure enough, the 2 beauties showed off their boss to be unique. In the whole of the casinos in a city, their family was the biggest. Their boss had the ability to reach the sky. Not only could he make a fortune in the casinos, but he was also involved in many other fields. The most important thing was that the boss had a background in the political world. Does your boss usually work here? He is a busy man. This is just one of his offices. He is rarely here. We can only see him for major events. The office area here is the core management of the whole casino. So of course, they will choose the place with the best scenery to work. They are in a good mood. The facilities in the presidential room will definitely satisfy you, sir. Just like the 2 of us. With a ding, the elevator stopped. When it opened, it was the presidential room. Sir, are you satisfied? This is the only room on this floor. Xiao Xiao walked out of the elevator and found himself in a transparent night scene. All the curtains were opened, and the night scene of the whole city was visible. It was as if the stars in the sky had fallen to the earth, covering the brilliance and prosperity. Xiao Xiao walked around the entire room in a 360-degree circle. Everything was there, and everything was exposed to her. The bathroom, the toilet, the bedroom, the living room, the balcony, the bar, all of them had no doors. They were just placed at different heights, forming a certain area and blocking part of the privacy. Sir, there is a special design here. Look. A beautiful woman pressed a button, and the big bed in the bedroom automatically shrank into the ground. The whole floor of nearly 300 square meters was covered with a precious furry blanket. Sir, if you like, all the furniture here can be retracted into the ground and rolled around as you like. It was the first time that Xiao Xiao had seen such a transparent room. However, this gave him some inspiration for the design of his new house. Everything could be electrically operated. Then, he and Yinran could do whatever they wanted in the future. He was satisfied that he had gotten a good idea, which also made him feel good. Now the problem in front of him was how to get rid of these two women who were in his way. Sir, look, there are a lot of stimulant drugs here. If you like, you can use them at any time. Xiao Xiao took a look at the dazzling array of drugs, just like a warehouse of small drugs. He looked at the labels of the drugs, and one of them immediately caught his attention. Why are there anesthetics here? A beautiful woman pursed her lips and said with a smile, some guests have some special hobbies. They want the other party to be caressed unconsciously, so the casino is also equipped with such drugs. However, the security of the casino is very good. If a guest hurts us, he won't be able to escape. Generally, the guests who will use this are some Asian guests. Xiao Xiao was happy in his heart. He happened to be an Asian guest. Two beauties, you go take a bath first. Let's try it later, okay? The two beauties sighed in their hearts. It seemed that the Asian guests really had a strange habit. Why did they like people who were unconscious? However, the customer was God. The two beauties had no choice but to walk to the shower room coquettishly. They quickly took a bath and came out wrapped in bath towels. Xiao Xiao was already sitting on the sofa. In front of him were 3 glasses of red wine. He gently shook one of them in his hand, and the other 2 glasses were already filled with anesthetics. Sir, we are very excited. Do you really want to make us faint? A beauty was still making a last effort. She made 1,000 provocative gestures in front of Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was unmoved. Drink, beauty, I like that. Under Xiao Xiao's persuasion, the 2 poor women quickly fell unconscious and enjoyed the unique scenery of the presidential suite alone. Xiao Xiao was finally free. Looking at the 360-degree glass wall without any blind spots, he was a little worried. Did he have to break the whole glass wall? He estimated that the sudden wind would sweep the whole room away. It seemed that he could only go through the corridor. He opened the door and saw the cameras on both sides. F***CK. The privacy of the customers was basically exposed in broad daylight. With a flick of his finger, a gust of demonic energy flew out and blocked both cameras. It was at this moment that he flew out of the window at the end of the room like a rock. He climbed down from the window. This floor was probably close to the top floor. When he lowered his head, the wall of the precipitous cliff cascaded down like the smooth surface of a lake. Xiao Xiao imagined for a moment how to step onto the next floor without any footholds. It seemed that this was the only way. He placed his hands in front of his chest, and his body suddenly bounced back. Borrowing this force, his body quickly fell down. When he slid down to the windowsill below, his feet suddenly kicked forward, as if he was on a swing, and his body steadily landed on the edge of the windowsill. The edge was very narrow, and only enough for half a foot. Xiao Xiao glanced out of the corner of his eye, and saw a small object protruding from his right hand. His hand was faster than his brain, and he quickly grabbed it to stabilize his body. He looked up. Damn! A camera was facing his handsome face. However, Xiao Xiao didn't directly download them. Instead, he first looked for the self-destruct system in the system. Sure enough, as he thought, there were self-destruct systems in a very secret place in these computers. Xiao Xiao was like a doctor who was picking out bones from flesh. He shut down these programs. This process was very time-consuming. Xiao Xiao listened to the sounds outside, while he frantically operated the computers in this brightly lit room, full of surveillance cameras. Xiao Xiao's eyes were stained with sweat, and the clothes on his back were stuck to his body. He looked at the time on the bottom right corner of the computer, and every minute and second was urging him to hurry up. Just a little bit faster. A window popped up. Success! Xiao Xiao let out a long sigh of relief. He immediately began to export the accounts. He couldn't tell which company's accounts were from, so he could only choose to export all of them. Looking at the huge amount of data, Xiao Xiao was a little anxious. He estimated that it would take 40 minutes. The camera in front of her was constantly changing images. While waiting, Xiao Xiao had already found Yanran. She was still sitting at one of the tables, but it seemed that this was no longer the same table as before. Xiao Xiao only saw that the chips in front of Yanran seemed to be increasing. He didn't expect that Yanran would be able to gamble. It seemed that he still had to work harder. Otherwise, his little bit of financial strength would be useless in front of Yanran. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Xiao Xiao kept urging the progress in his heart, but the progress bar was like a snail in Xiao Xiao's mind. It couldn't move fast. Xiao Xiao was so anxious that he wanted to whip him. He prayed in his heart, "Please don't let anyone come. Please don't let all his efforts go to waste." Xiao Xiao constantly paid attention to the images in the camera. There was a camera in the corridor outside, facing the elevator. At the 39th minute, the dark entrance of the elevator suddenly opened, and a person walked out. He was tall and handsome, mature and elegant. Xiao Xiao took a closer look and was shocked. Zhou Jiutian. Xiao Xiao cursed. God was really *king against him. He could only pray that Zhou Jiutian didn't enter the finance room. He watched him enter the room next door. Less than a minute later, he heard the door open. Oh no! Chapter 300. Zhou Jiutian and the other person's footsteps made loud thumping noises as they walked into Xiao Xiao's room. They were only a dozen steps away from the door, and the two of them seemed to be talking about something. Their conversation changed from inaudible to clear and audible. Completed. Just as the other person turned the doorknob of the finance room, the download was finally completed. Luckily, Xiao Xiao had set it to shut down once the download was completed. At this critical moment, the sound of Xiao Xiao pulling out the USB and turning the doorknob overlapped. Xiao Xiao took the opportunity to squat down and immediately hid under the office table. The space under the huge office table was very large. Xiao Xiao summoned the guard seal and covered his entire body. At the same time, he lowered his presence to the lowest level. He heard from Yanran that Zhou Jiutian was very capable. He must not be discovered by him. The two of them walked into the room and stood in front of the big screen. Business is still so good. Opening a casino is really profitable. Zhou Jiutian praised as he looked at the lively scene. Of course, casinos, drugs, and firearms are the most profitable businesses, the other middle-aged man said. The money I moved in seems to be just a drop in the bucket. I've already helped you transfer your money to places in the Federation that need it. Originally, I could have gotten more, but I didn't expect an accident to happen. I'm not worried about you. With your abilities, what can't you do? At most, it's a matter of time. Hee, I like hearing you say that. It's always been like this. This world is controlled by us. Anyone or anything that wants to escape our control has to be killed in the cradle. Why are you here? Shouldn't there be a lot of trouble in the country? The trouble I'm talking about is in the country. Originally, my management skills were too poor. My old nest was cleaned out by another girl. Now, this girl has become a hindrance to me. I originally wanted to take her in, but I didn't expect her to find out about me. The middle-aged man looked at Zhou Jiutian in shock. Is this why you came here personally? That's right. The orders from above are to get rid of her as soon as possible. Unfortunately, this girl is quite outstanding. Even I am a little fascinated by her. The middle-aged man chuckled and said, It's just a woman. I have as many as you want. You can take your pick from me. All the girls here are foreign. They are all careless. How can they compare to our Oriental girls? Their skin is delicate and pure. The feeling when you touch them is different. You can't say that. Our foreign girls are all top-notch in bed, and they are full of energy. Aren't they more attractive than your Oriental girls? Zhou Jiutian smiled and changed the topic. Are there any new instructions from the higher-ups? The higher-ups have instructed us to steal as much information as possible, especially military information. We still need to rely on the cultivators under you to collect it. You don't need to transfer the money anymore. Of course, the more money the better. But if you have any difficulties, you can put them aside first. This is a long-term and vast project. The higher-ups are more concerned about the advancement of technology and military innovation. The two continued to talk in depth. Xiao Xiao hid under the table and did not move. At this time, he had turned on the recording mode of his phone and recorded the conversation between the two men without missing a word. Xiao Xiao was glad that there was only one chair in front of the desk. The two men should not have walked in here. Sure enough, after the two talked for a while, the middle-aged man said, "I have a document next door. It has a specific action plan. Come with me to take a look." Xiao Xiao let out a long sigh of relief. They were finally going to leave. After the two men left, Xiao Xiao quickly went back the way he came and returned to his presidential suite without anyone noticing. Fortunately, the two hostesses in the suite were still lying unconscious on the ground. Success! Xiao Xiao broke out in a cold sweat because he had almost been exposed. He simply went to the bathroom to take a shower. He was not used to the feeling of having no shelter around him. After Xiao Xiao restored his beautiful appearance, he left a stack of money at the bedside and then went back to the casino. A few minutes after Xiao Xiao left, Zhou Jiutian and the middle-aged man took the materials back to the finance office. They sat on the sofa and each made a cup of tea. It seemed that they were going to have a long talk. The two talked for about 10 minutes and finally came to an end. Zhou Jiutian casually looked at the big screen. Suddenly, the teacup in his hand froze. Then he smiled mysteriously. He did not expect the fish to take the initiative to run to the fisherman's hook. Old Tan, look. In the middle of the third screen, the girl on the gambling table is called Yin Ran. I came for her this time. The middle-aged man called Old Tan looked carefully. He picked up the remote control on the table and zoomed in on the third screen. At this time, he could clearly see Yin Ran's cold face sitting at the table. She was playing suaha with a few people, and there were a lot of chips in front of her. Are you talking about this beauty? She's not bad looking and has a good figure, but she's too cold. Do you like such a girl? Old Tan teased. I did like her before, but now the orders are to kill her. What a pity. Old Tan chuckled. Does she still want to go out after entering the casino? This is simple. Just leave it to me. Sigh Old Tan, you can't be careless. She's a cultivator and her realm is very high. She's not easy to catch. Old Tan's mind spun quickly. I got it. Let's not treat her as a cultivator. Just treat her as an ordinary person. I'll think of a way. We'll definitely catch her. You can do whatever you want with her. After Xiao Xiao finished showering, he took out his phone and called Yin Ran. He wanted to tell her that he had successfully completed the mission and ask her for instructions on the next step. However, he did not expect that no one would pick up even after the phone rang more than 20 times. Xiao Xiao was very strange. Could it be that he was addicted to gambling? Or did he go on a mission? However, Xiao Xiao was not worried. He knew Yinran's ability. He might as well go down and look for her. However, when he went downstairs, Xiao Xiao searched a few times. He could not find Yin Ran in the entire casino. No matter how he called, no one picked up. Xiao Xiao could not help but feel anxious. No matter where Yin Ran was, she should have given him a message. Just before Xiao Xiao came down to look for Yin Ran had already gone through a few tables and won a lot of money. At the end of the day, gambling was still a matter of probability. Yin Ran had her own investment strategy. In the beginning, she would gamble with the least amount of money. If she lost, she would double the amount. If she lost again, she would double the amount again. If she had enough money, she could add dozens of times in a row. What she gambled on was probability. There would always be one time where she would win. And if she won this time, she would earn a lot of money. If the stock kept falling, you would make up for it at different prices. The lower the price, the more you would make up for it. When the stock rose, you would have enough chips in your hands. Moreover, the diluted price was very low, so you would be able to earn money very quickly. Yinran wanted to make so much money. Her purpose was to attract the attention of the higher-ups, so that she could be taken to a higher-level room so that she could get more information. This was actually a risky move, but Yinran had always been a person who jumped on the tip of a knife and fire. Her courage and meticulousness were her bargaining chips. By the time she reached the 8th table, she was running out of chips. At this moment, a man in a suit walked over and said, "Miss, your luck is quite good today. You've already reached our standard to enter the VIP room. I'd like to ask if you're interested in moving to another room?" Yinran smiled in her heart. It was finally here. She smiled at the man. "It would be my pleasure. I hope to meet a stronger opponent." The man in the suit made a gesture with his right hand and led the way in front. She took the elevator directly to the 10th floor. When the elevator opened, there were countless beautifully decorated rooms outside. The solid wood heavy wooden door was covered with leather edges, and the metal handle was shining. The man pushed open one of the rooms and invited Yinran in. There was no one in the room at this time. There was a huge gambling table in the center, and there was a circle of leather sofas around the room. It was very luxurious. "Miss, please sit here for a while. I will ask someone to serve you tea. In a while, other guests will come up to compare notes with you. You can choose the game. Our purpose is to let you have a good time." "Wait a minute. I want to see your boss," Yinran said in a cold voice. The man hesitated. "Miss, to tell you the truth, your chips have not reached the point where you can communicate with our boss personally, but I believe you will reach it soon. As long as you have enough chips, I will help you to invite the boss down." Yinran thought about it. It was indeed not easy to see the boss of such a big casino. She had to have enough chips to tempt him. She had thought too simply in the beginning. Zhou Jiutian watched Yinran's every move on the monitor screen. He old Tan wants to see you. This beauty is still a little inexperienced. How can she see me with her chips? However, this girl looks calm enough. She's not a simple character. What are you going to do next? Find someone to gamble with him? Zhou Jiutian continued to ask. It's up to you. If you want her to play for a while longer, then there's no rush. If you want to take her down directly, then I'll take another plan. Time is precious. Just take her down. However, if you fight him head-on, you'll definitely be asking for trouble. Old Tan smiled. Jiutian, you think too simply of me. Which room of mine isn't an iron wall? How can it be so easy to leave after entering? I'll let you see how long it will take for this beauty to be taken down by me. With that said, Old Tan picked up a walkie-talkie beside the table. Room 3 on the 10th floor is sealed. Put in the knockout powder. When Zhou Jiutian heard this, a smile of admiration appeared on his face. If you want to do big things, you don't care about trifles. I admire you, Old Tan. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.